gets a 1-week reprieve because they play East Mississippi in 2 weeks. So you're seeing the East Mississippi opponents here on weeks 2 and 3. But the bottom line is that one of these teams is going to be feeling really good about itself in about 3 hours from now, and the other one's going to be wondering, hey, all that work we put in, was it worth it?
Slam jam packed on the side here of Itawamba. Of course, a 4-hour trip from Hattiesburg makes it about a 4-hour and 45-minute ride from Pop Vegas. The Indians won the toss and have decided to take the football, so Pearl River's highly heralded defense will get a chance to show its teeth early, and the defensive secondary in particular for Pearl River much bigger and stronger than in years past.
Their strength, not only much bigger and stronger, Kelly, with a couple of players that they brought in, but basically their entire secondary from last year is back. So that is definitely a strength that they hope to take advantage of.
Branson Davis will kick it off. Davis out of Hurley's East Central High School. He'll do some of the long field goal kicking for Pearl River, while Gaden Hentz out of Hattiesburg will do more short yardage duties. Ready to go as the Wildcats will kick it off left to right. The whistle blows, and the 2019 MACJC Junior College football season is officially underway. Our pregame show brought to you by Pawpaws Campers and Cars. Back into the end zone, the kick goes, and the Indians will down it there, and they'll set up shop 1st and 10 as they bring it out. That was Quay Tucker, the defensive back out of Dadeville High School in Alabama, coming out. So the defensive front for Pearl River gets a chance to come out. They're anchored on that offensive line by big Terrence Monroe, the sophomore defensive tackle out of Petal, the 6'4", 330-pounder. Also out there is Ezekiel Chapman out of Lake, Mississippi. A couple of guys on the line for the Wildcats. So the Indians come out. They get ready to work. They're led by quarterback Clark Mills, the sophomore out of North Pontotoc High School, not far from here. 1st and 10 for the Indians. The Wildcats stack the line. Shadows now working toward the Pearl River side of the field. Mills calls for the football, wants to throw immediately, has time, lofts it toward the sideline. It's caught up at the 46-yard line. Making the grab there for the Indians is Quay Tucker. He was the man that returned it for the Indians. Darrell Luter, the sophomore quarterback out of Oak Grove High School near Hattiesburg, on the defensive coverage for the Wildcats. It's a first down for the Indians, who are working quickly now up at the 46-yard line, working right to left on the hash in front of their own bench. Indians looking to make it 2 in a row. Handoff up the middle. Running room there for Hiram Wadlington out of Oxford. Gain of about 4 on the play brings up 2nd down and 6.
Hiram back from last year. He was a workhorse last year. They played on running him a lot this year. Clark Mills, we didn't see him actually in the opener last year, but he took over mid-season, and that's when Itawamba really got things going late in the year.
And Mills draws the start tonight. Quick pass out into the left flat. It's caught. Luter again wraps up the receiver. This time it's Jalen Gale, the sophomore wide receiver out of Olive Branch, very near the first down stick, and they give him the first down. So that's the second time that they'll move the chains. Moving the chains, next time you're ready to move, contact Gulfport Home Center on North Highway 49, the largest selection of pre-manufactured homes in the state. Handoff up the middle again. That's to Wadlington again. Works the right side of the Pearl River defensive line and gains about 3, maybe 4. It'll be a 2nd down as we're just underway here at Eaton Field in Itawamba. 13:38 left to go here in the first quarter.
That's as good as you can ask for.
Mills at quarterback. Wadlington split to the right. Mills fakes it to him, now throws across the middle, wide open. This is trouble. Splitting the seam and into the end zone for an Indian touchdown is Quay Tucker.
Wide open. That literally was the definition of running right down the seam. I don't know if he even left the hashes. He made the catch and didn't get touched in the end zone. A great start for the Indians. Not so Wildcat defense.
Skylar Grissom, the sophomore kicker out of Fulton, will try to add the extra point here. Nearly a perfect series for the Indians, combination of pass and run. The kick is up, and this kick is no good. It is wide to the left. With 13:07 left to go in the first quarter, the Indians draw first blood and lead Pearl River 7-0. Back with the kickoff in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during truck month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Grissom ready to kick it away for the Indians, who lead it 7-0. This kickoff brought to you by Java Mo's Kickstart Your Morning, with Java Mo's Coffee soon to open in the College Square, right across from the Pearl River campus. End-over-end kick will be fielded at about the 18-yard line. Trying to battle his way straight up the middle for the River Cats is Tion Frost, the running back out of Gulfport. Gets up to about the 34-yard line, and that's where the Wildcats will now begin to work. And 4 quarterbacks we talked about on this Pearl River team, but it'll be Terrence Humphrey out of Clarksdale, Mississippi, who will lead the Wildcat charges here on a 1st and 10, working left to right from the far hash mark in front of the Pearl River bench.
A little bit of mix of new and old. The new offense of taking it out of the shotgun exclusively in, but the old is that the Wildcats want to run the football old school style.
And there's a handoff over the left side, sweep toward that far side of the line. Lance Stewart, the freshman out of Lafayette County, picked up about 4 over there, 2nd down and about 6. Offensive co-offensive coordinators Matt Monticelli and Coach Terrence Metcalf calling the shots as the lights are on here tonight. Now at Eaton Field, 2nd down and 6 for the Wildcats. Humphrey wants to throw, does, in and out of the hands, actually through the hands of Trent Williams, the wide receiver out of Petal, Mississippi, up at about the 41-yard line. The incompletion stops the clock and brings up a 3rd down and 7 for Pearl River, trailing in this game 7-0.
Situation here. We're early in the first quarter, but this is a big play. You want to get a 1st down, kind of get your feet under you and give your defense a little time to rest.
Twin receivers to each side. Humphrey wants to throw. Flag is down. Does throw. Has his receiver up at the 50-yard line. Jalen Wilson out of Bay St. Louis. And stepped out at about the 48. But again, a penalty marker's down.
Defense lined up in the neutral zone. This should be a 1st down.
Nice pitch and catch there from Humphrey to Wilson. Numbers 1 and 2 in your program. It is offside against the Indians, so the Wildcats will move the chains. 12:21 left to go here in the first quarter, the first possession of the night for the 2019 edition of the Pearl River Wildcats. Receiver comes in motion. They give it to him on the swing pass. Jalen Wilson inside the 45 down to about the 43-yard line. Making the stop there for the Indians on defense was Jamal Shumpert, the sophomore linebacker from Itawamba High School. One of the things that stood out to me, David Sutton, in a pregame press conference with Coach Eggers, he said, we're not going to try to be that big play team, just ball control, a little dink here, run there, whatever. Not necessarily a Broadway show for an offense, but effective nonetheless, and that's what we've seen so far here. That was a pickup of 7, brings up a 2nd down and 3. Humphrey wants to throw again, has his receiver again. Minimal gain as Wilson is stacked up nearly immediately. Leading the onslaught there is Corley Hooper, the freshman linebacker out of Pontotoc. Well, he got enough for the 1st down. Boy, I didn't.
No quarterback wants to be called it. Coaches don't like to use it. That's exactly what Coach Eggers called Terrence Humphrey. A great leader, gave him a lot of confidence, but he's a game manager. He doesn't make bad decisions. He knows where to go with the football, and so far we've seen him on target early on.
Humphrey out of Clarksdale, Mississippi. They pitch it out to the near side. Making the reception there is Lance Stewart. Stewart cuts it back inside the 35. Down to about the 32 out of Lafayette County. They know a little bit about football at Lafayette County High School. Got nearly what he needed for 1st down yardage, but a pickup of 9 on the play.
Kelly, if you want to have a game-managing type of an offense, 9 yards on 1st down opens up the playbook quite a bit.
Harrison Ashby, the tight end out of Idaho, now kind of flanked to the right. He's got a lot of D1 offers already on the table for Pearl River. Stewart now split to the right. Play action, wants to throw. Humphrey's in trouble, and down he goes. Does try to extend the ball forward to about the 24-yard line. Ball came loose, but he was down on the play. Will bring up, after a loss on the play of about 2, brings up 3rd down and 3 for the River Cats as we near 10 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. A lot of plays that you can go to on 3rd and short and right toward the middle part of the field. The give and go, they try the right side, ample yardage, and another first down play for Lance Stewart, the freshman out of Oxford. You look at the freshman talent on this Pearl River roster, they've got a lot of them, and that'll move the chains. Again, anytime you're ready to move, talk to the folks at Gulfport Home Center on Highway 49 North. It's a first down, handoff straight up the gut. First handoff of the night goes to TJ Wash. The first handoff to Wash, the sophomore running back out of Forest, Mississippi, gains 5 on the play. Wash will be called upon a lot this year. He's got some miles on those tires and that sophomore leadership that he brings. There's a 5-yard pickup there, brings up a 2nd down and 5. Pearl River with a nice ball-controlled series here. Wants to throw, does out into the right flat. It's caught at about the 22-yard line, but then Latrell Jones is pushed straight back. Jones, the freshman out of Taylorsville, where the Tartars know a little bit about winning football games as well at the high school level. Picks up about 3, will bring up a 3rd down and 2. Another 3rd down play for Pearl River upcoming. The Wildcats trailing 6-0. Handing it off again and tripping across the 20 to the 19-yard line is again TJ Wash, and that should be enough to move the chains. David, at this rate, we might be out of here by 7:45 tonight. We might.
You want to help out your defense? Let them sit over on the bench and take 5-6 minutes off the clock. Now, what you got to do is cash it in. You're in the red zone for the first time this season. We need some points.
Not just any red zone, the Red Burrito Red Zone, bringing south of the border menu items, north of the border, Red Burrito in the Hardee's location in Poplarville. Handoff and a sweep to the right side, getting pushed out of bounds is TJ Wash. He got pushed out at about the 9-yard line. So that's a gain of about 11 on that play. They'll move the chains again, and Pearl River now knocking on its own end zone to the right of us here at Eaton Field in Fulton.
Kelly, the Gulfport Home Center may have bought the best sponsorship of the year if the Wildcats are going to have a drive like this, which notches a half a dozen first downs.
In just the first series of the night, Wash to the right of Humphrey. Humphrey claps his hands, wants the football, throws across the middle near the end zone. The catch is made by Wilson.
That was a tough spot, Kelly, because Wilson landed on the defender and he bounced into the end zone. Although it's at the half-yard line, I think that should have been 6.
They rule him just short, so it'll be a 2nd down and goal now as we're 7 minutes on the button left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River trailing 6-0, but the Wildcats perhaps momentarily going into the end zone. Tion Frost now checks in out of Gulfport. He is split to the right of Humphrey. They fake it to Frost, and he runs it himself, dives to the end zone. He is in. That is a Wildcat touchdown.
That was an impressive drive. I mean, I don't know, even in Coach Eggert's wildest dreams, if he would have come up with a drive quite like that for the touchdown, ending in a 1-yard score. It ends up being what amounts to a 14-play drive for the score.
Now they're going for 2 here. Jacob Greer, the freshman quarterback, now they're going to kick it as Gaden Hentz out of the hold of Greer. Greer, the freshman quarterback out of St. Stanislaus, will hold it for Hentz out of Hattiesburg. The kick is up, and this kick is good. Hentz nails it with 6:40 left to go in the first quarter. Pearl River 7, Itawamba 6. We'll be back with the Java Mo's kickoff in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price. At Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun, we're all in for you.
Branson Davis ready to kick it away for the Wildcats here, who have grabbed a 7-6 lead. Both teams converted on their first series of the night. Nice booming kick that takes the receiver back into the end zone, and he'll bring it out up to the 20, cuts outside the 20 to about the 22 where he was upended there. Nice return by Javis Wren. First and 10 for the Indians. Working right to left. Pearl River will continue this road trip next week when they go to Last Chance U up in Scuba to take on the #1 team in the country, East Mississippi. And then 2 weeks from tonight, the Wildcats will be back home for the home opener against Colin. Handoff. Shooting in from his linebacking position and wrapping him up for a loss on the play. Nice play there by Noah Mitchell, the freshman linebacker out of Greene County.
Tonight, one team is finally behind the chains as they have not. Both teams have been really well on first down.
Noah Mitchell showing his athleticism there. Again, a freshman. He was all everything in District 7 4A last year for the Greene County Wildcats. So he swaps the Greene County Wildcat jersey for the Pearl River one. Loss of 4. Second down and 14. Mills has got a man wide open at the 50-yard line, and he dropped it. There was a blown coverage for Pearl River, Captain D, and all Quay Davis had to do was catch it, and he could have crawled to the end zone. Pearl River dodges one there.
Kelly, basically, the defensive back, it wasn't a blown coverage. Jarius McFarland is giving kind of a push motion that he got pushed to the ground. But either way, there was no flag whether he got pushed or not. And like you said, that was just a pitch and catch. The two of them could have been out there by themselves. We talked about little things, certain plays that make a difference. That just made a 6 or 7 point difference. That should have been a touchdown.
And this is now 3rd and 13 for the Indians. How many 3rd and 13 plays are there? Little swing pass, looking for some blockers up, and gets maybe up to about the 27-yard line, but they had to get up to the 33. Mitchell again on the stop for the Wildcats. So the youngster from Greene County making his presence known as he tackles Quay Tucker. And for the first time tonight, a punting unit will come in, and the Indians will boot it away. Brett Benjamin, the freshman out of Kossuth.
One of the adjustments that's going to be made, Quay Tucker's going to probably have 2 or 3 guys on him as he has really made his presence.
Wildcats back at about the 34-yard line to try to retrieve this one. It's a short kick, but coming up and catching it on the run and being dumped immediately after making the catch is Khalil Levy, the freshman out of Ocean Springs.
He held on to that ball. He didn't get hit by one Indian. He got hit by a couple.
5 minutes, 4 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River leads Itawamba 7-6. We'll be checking the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. Other games in the MacJack tonight include Holmes at Colin, Northwest playing at East Central in Decatur. East is at Hines tonight. Jones is at Coahoma. We'll give you the rest of the schedule in a moment. First down, the Wildcats go for a swing pass, and that one is dropped by Juan Nelson out of Laurel. The Laurel Tornadoes play Hattiesburg this weekend for the Little Brown Jug. That's an incompletion. Second down and 10 coming up. The other two games on the schedule include Gulf Coast at Delta and pity the poor Southwest Bears who have to go all the way to Boonville tonight. From southwest to northeast, that's the longest trip that you can make in the MacJack, and it won't get any easier for the Bears because next week they go to Northwest in Senatobia. So for the Bears, for sure. Second down and 10. On the delay, but the handoff goes to Lance Stewart, and he tries the left side, and nothing developed there at all. It'll bring up a third down and 10. Clock will keep moving with 4:48 left to go here in the first quarter, with Pearl River leading Itawamba 7-6.
The bottom line is first down. They had to bunt. Now it's Pearl River with a little bit of a drop. Tried to run before he caught it, dropped the pass, and now it's 3rd and long. We'll see how the Wildcats choose to play.
We had a chance to walk this field earlier tonight. It's in beautiful shape. A nice big crown across the middle of it to help with drainage, but perfect conditions tonight. Wanting to throw, looking for a receiver. Had a man open down at about the 22-yard line, but just slightly overthrown. Latrell Jones was on the go route there, and just, again, beyond his reach. So the punting unit for Pearl River will come in to execute now with a stopped clock with 4:16 left to go in the first.
Didn't run the go route full speed the whole way. It was about halfway down. He took off, and going the whole time at speed, that might have been a perfect pass.
Gaden Hentz to kick it away. This is a low liner that will be fielded at about the 22-yard line. Great special teams play. The Wildcats almost let him get loose, but dump him at the 25-yard line. Making the stop there for Pearl River is Damian Lynch, the freshman defensive back out of Pearl, Mississippi. It'll be 1st down and 10 for the Indians.
Chance for Itawamba maybe to get some return yardage, but there were 3 Wildcats there and actually stuck with it. He got out of that first couple of tacklers, but couldn't get away.
Coming up on the Hardee's halftime show, we'll be talking with the president of Pearl River Community College, Dr. Adam Breerwood, traditionally our first guest of the season, and certainly the case tonight. Handoff up the middle and dragging several Wildcats with him is Hiram Wadlington. I mean, it's one thing to hit him, but you got to tackle him. You got to bring him down. A gain of about 12 on the play, a 1st down for the Indians.
Well, he got his money's worth right there, as it took about a half a dozen Wildcats to bring him down after the 1st down run.
Wildcats stack the line. Mills wants to throw, looks toward the sideline. Incomplete. On the coverage there for Pearl River was Darrell Luter, the sophomore cornerback out of Hattiesburg, Oak Grove High School to be specific. Oak Grove will begin the high school season tomorrow night against Wayne County. Incompletion stops the clock. 2nd down and 10 upcoming now for the Indians. Jared Johnson, the freshman defensive lineman from Pascagoula on the right side of the Pearl River line there as I go with 2 linebackers. Mills hands it off. Hit at the line of scrimmage and not a whole lot of room there, but maybe a yard or 2 for Emmanuel Vance out of Pontotoc on the carry. Gains a couple. It'll bring up 3rd down and probably 8. So here we go on another 3rd down play. This Pearl River defense, which is the strength of the team. You ask outsiders, they'll tell you that. Bigger in the defensive secondary. They like the athleticism of the linebacking core, the size and strength of the defensive line, and that about covers it. 3rd down. Mills to throw. He's got time, steps up into the pocket, looks and hits his man up at the 40-yard line. The Wildcats get him tackled across the 40 to about the 43-yard line, making the tackle there for the Wildcats. Couple of them there, including Luter and Cole, the linebacker out of Madison Central. So punt formation again for the Indians. That'll bring in Brett Benjamin.
Dropped deep into coverage, and everybody just kept everything in front, and then when they got it, the pass completed in front, they made the tackle of Twilly to stop it.
Savara Snow is over in the area, but it is not Snow that makes the catch. It will again be Levy to make the catch, and he is dumped immediately at about they'll spotted at about the 23 or 24-yard line. His forward progress with 2:14 left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River leading Itawamba on the road tonight 7-6.
Pearl River's kind of controlled the clock, which is nice, and after their first possession on defense, they got their spikes dug into this natural grass field, and now we'll see if the offense can put together the drive to work.
Boy, it chewed up almost 7 minutes on the clock, that first series. 14-play drive that netted 6 for the Wildcats, and Hence's extra point is the difference in the ball game. Twin receivers to the far side, the give and go. Coming to the near side, up to about the 30-yard line for the Wildcats is Lance Stewart. Stewart getting some work early on. Again, the freshman out of Lafayette County. And actually, you look at this running back core, David Sutton, for Pearl River, there's some 2,000-yard rushers in that backfield.
A couple of 2,000-yard rushers from last year, one from Richmond, Richton, I should say, and they got a big bruiser in Tion Frost who had the first kick return. So they really feel like they got 4 guys that they're going to rotate in and out this season.
Hand it off again, but this time the Indians are onto it. Not a whole lot of room there for Stewart. Might have gotten a yard. It'll bring up 3rd and about 5 as we near the 1-minute mark left to go here in what has been a very expeditious first quarter here at Eaton Field in Fulton.
In their senior year last year, Stewart's already got a half a dozen carries in this one for 21 yards.
Trip receivers to the far side of the field. Lots of options to go here for Terrence Humphrey, the freshman quarterback out of Clarksdale for Pearl River. On a 3rd down play, calls for the football. It's been cleanly played. Pass across the middle, little crossing route that Wilson and Nelson for Pearl River were in the area, but some confusion there perhaps. But a pass that goes awry, and the punting unit will come in for the River Cats with a minute even left to go here in quarter number 1.
Number 7, Itawamba Oliver will be back to that back for ICC.
First 3rd down conversion made it with 3rd and 7. We've seen 3 3rd and longs, and none of them have been converted by either team.
A quick snap, a quick count, and a great punt by Hentz. Man, what a thunderous boom that goes back to about the 25-yard line. And trying to carry that forward is Salante Oliver, who gets up to about the 36-yard line, but a penalty marker down. And usually in these situations, it goes on the return team.
Yep, and that's not only was that a big booming kick, you're going to tack 10 more yards onto that kick. A high floater, it ended up going 48 yards on the fly, but about 3 or 4 yards up from the return, they're going to start walking backwards.
So it'll back the Indians up just a bit. It is a block in the back that will go against the Indians. Of course, the kiss of death, I just said that both teams have played a pretty clean football game up to this point, and of course the penalty markers fly at that juncture.
The second penalty, though, of the ball game.
So the Indians will start 1st and 10, trailing 7-6. Pearl River had a big lead last year at the half of this game, as we talked about in the Pawpaws, Campers, and Cars pregame show, only to have the Indians snatch victory from the Wildcats and a very soggy Dobie Holden last year at this time. 1st and 10 from the far hash mark in front of the Pearl River bench. The Indians working from south to north the way the field is laid out here. Mills, quick throw out to the sideline. It is incomplete. Threw it actually behind Quay Davis. He had to spin around to his back shoulder. Could not come up with it. On the coverage there was Jarius McFarland, the defensive back out of Hattiesburg, who Ted Egger said has had a terrific fall. McFarland in the secondary.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right there, Mills with the incompletion, Kelly, that was really the first bad ball that he's thrown. I mean, that's his 3rd pass that's incomplete. The other 2 were on the mark. Remember, one of them should have been a long touchdown.
2nd down and 10. The incompletion stopped the clock with 45 seconds. Trip receivers to the fat side of the field here. Lots of room to work. On this last weekend of the NFL preseason, the National Football League will begin its season in earnest a week from tonight. Mills looking to this sideline, lofting it toward the sideline, and overthrows everybody. The only guy in the area was Pearl River's Ron Baker, the sophomore defensive back out of Jeff Davis High School in Bassfield. So incomplete. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 10 now for the Indians.
Only if I'm being really, really picky. Drop the temperature 5 to 10 degrees. This is a perfect opening night for football here.
Not a cloud in the sky, not a hair out of place on this field. Everything is immaculate, as you might expect. And actually, what has now turned out to be quite a numerous Pearl River crowd has shown up. In trouble, Mills is able to get away from 2 or 3 Wildcats, but then finally is dumped at the 10-yard line. Good pursuit by the Wildcats. A sack on the play. Looks like Seawright out of DeIberville makes the tackle.
Let's go mixing it up. The bottom line is that last time on 3rd and 3, Kelly, remember, they only sent 3 and dropped 8 into coverage. That time, they brought some pressure, caught their offensive line off guard, got the sack.
Now Benjamin is about 4 yards deep in his end zone to kick it away. The Wildcats will run out, the clock runs out before he can get the play away. 1 quarter in the books here at Eaton Field in Fulton. It's the Pearl River Wildcats 7, the Itawamba Indians 6. The Wildcats get the football when we return in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it. We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet.
So the Indians to kick it away now. They'll switch directions and the Wildcats will work right to left. Perfect snap. The Wildcats with limited pressure. Kick is away, and this time it'll be Snow that takes it at the 50-yard line. He calls for the fair catch, and Snow kills it there. The Wildcat defense goes off the field, and here comes the offense now, leading this game 7-6, just underway here in the second quarter.
Kelly, I'll tell you, the battle of field position has obviously been won by Pearl River because Itawamba has started at the 25, the 19, and the 22, where here, the last possession for the Wildcats started just inside the 40. I should say their second possession. Here, they're almost in Indian territory, so a nice job not only by the defense, but holding the Indians deep in their own territory and giving their offense some really good starting field position.
And all of a sudden the Wildcats are confused about something, so Humphrey will burn a timeout. While we get a chance and keep it right here, we talked about Noah Mitchell, the great linebacker out of Greene County, the freshman. His teammate, Hayden West, who wears number 76 for Pearl River, he's a freshman, and he is the center on this Pearl River team. So both Greene County Wildcats representing, as the kids say, both getting starts as freshmen. So good for them, to come to Pearl River and get the start. Hey, we'd like to know where you're watching or listening to the game from. Keep this number in mind, 601-310-7077. That's 601-310-7077. Shoot us a text. Let us know where you're watching or listening to the game from, and we will give you a shout out. If there's a particular Wildcat that is your favorite, let us know that as well, and we'll get the shout out to them and to the Wildcat Nation here. 601-310-7077. Keep that number on file. That number will not change throughout the season, and you can get a hold of us here on the text line in the booth. So the Wildcats get to work now on 1st and 10. Humphrey fakes the handoff, wants to run it himself, now dumps it out into the right flat. It's caught, maybe a 2 or 3 yard gain as Levy was able to wiggle free out there. It is a pickup of about 3, second down and 7. Made something out of nothing there, as it were. Looked like a kind of a triple option play there, David.
Pass option because they faked the run. Then the quarterback decided he could run, but then he said, you know what, my best option is to pass it, and he ends up getting 3 on first down. That actually was the best decision he could have made.
The ball control Wildcats. Ashby now split left. Humphrey with an empty backfield. Wanted to throw and did, but incomplete to T.J. Wash. He was going to get clobbered had he made that catch. Octavius McClatchy out of Independence High School was on the coverage for the Indians. Incompletion brings up a 3rd down and 7 with 14-18 left to go here in the second quarter. And really after kind of an auspicious start for both defenses, David, both defenses now have dug in.
Yeah, that's a good point. In the first quarter, 157 yards of total offense between the two, Kelly. But on the first possession for each team, if you add those up, it was right at 150. Neither team was able to move it at all after that first possession.
3rd down. This pass is on a little slant, incomplete. Stetson Moore, the sophomore wide receiver out of Philadelphia, couldn't hang on to it. So the punting unit comes on for Pearl River now.
And the bottom line is that we've seen missed opportunities. Although for the Romans it was much bigger, there should have been an 80-yard touchdown pass essentially. But That right there was an easy first down in and out of the hands of the Pearl River receiver.
From the 251 area code, Noah Mitchell's uncle has checked in. He said the kid is legit. From what we've seen so far, we agree. That's from the 251 area code. They're watching in Macomb, Mississippi, from the 601, rooting for Zach Wall. The punt is away. Penalty markers down. This will probably go back. Some nice footwork by the Indian return man. That's Salante Oliver. But again, penalty markers back at about the 15-yard line, and that'll usually be a block in the back.
Yeah, that's the only reason he was able to not be punished, basically, as soon as he caught the ball. So at the 15-yard line, barring something miraculous here, I agree. I saw the push in the back. That ball's going to end up inside the 10, right around the 7.5-yard line, as they'll mark it off half the distance.
So great punt coverage again for Pearl River. And another penalty by the Indians. Let's get you caught up to date on some shout-outs here. From the 601, again, they're watching from Macomb, Mississippi, and rooting for Zach Wall and all the Wildcats. That's from the 601 in Macomb, Mississippi. They are watching also in Fairhope, Alabama. Glad to have them in the 251 area code. And in Kansas City tonight, big fans of Jaden Ridgway. From the 816 area code, shout out to Jaden Ridgway and the Wildcats. Glad to have you with us, Kansas City. The bad news is the Royals are no good. The good news is the Chiefs season is about to start.
They're really good.
Right. 13:58 left to go here in the half. The Indians start deep in their own territory, trying to find some running room on the right side. There was nothing there, so coming back to the left side is Wadlington and is able to get up to about the 10-yard line, maybe a 2 or 3 yard gain. It'll bring up second down and long for the Indians as dusk begins to encroach the field here.
Actually give him all the way up to about the 18, Kelly.
Wow,
so
yeah.
that ends up being a lot better gain than it looked like, but a gang tackle indeed. Only one Wildcat ended up not being in on the 6-yard pickup.
Second down and 4. Boy, you talk about forward progress. Hand off the right side. Mitchell, we talked about with the tackle, but getting up and wiggling his way across the 20 to the 21-yard line is Wadlington again. He has done most of the heavy lifting here for the Indians in the early going, and that'll move the chains. The next time you want to move, talk to the folks at Gulfport Home Center. Largest selection of pre-manufactured housing in the state. Gulfport Home Center on the web as well. First down and 10 for the Indians, trailing Pearl River 7-6 with 12:55 left to go here in half. Coming up on the Hardee's halftime show, we'll be talking with Pearl River Community College president. That guy, you know what's his name? Adam Breerwood, of course. Second down, they want to throw to the near side. They do, and that pass is caught at the 35-yard line. A nice grab there by Quay Tucker. He was covered well.
And I believe he was interfered with. I think that the Pearl River defender got there just a fraction early, and he still made the catch for the 14-yard pickup and the first down. He's had quite the start to the season. His 4th reception for 82.
Wadlington gets the carry up to about the 39-yard line as the Indians work very quickly. Savaris Snow on the tackle for Pearl River. He's a sophomore out of Newton. Brings up a second down and 7. We understood we had some technical difficulties, but we can hear you now, Captain D. So, second down. 12 minutes even left to go here in the half. The Indians getting to work. Another quick pass, complete. Good tackling by the Wildcats, Rico Moore. And he wraps up Tyler Day, the freshman out of Little Rock, Arkansas, went to North Little Rock High School.
It's probably going to be a measurement here, and I tell you, that's one of those plays where it was a good play all around. It was a good throw, it was a good catch, but it was a good tackle too. I mean, he was there on the coverage, and they are going to give it to him as the nose of the football touching the 45-yard stripe.
Coach Egger's parents are watching from Hormel, New York, from the 607 area code. Glad to have the Egger family with us, and hopefully there is good news tonight, as President Roosevelt used to say back in the day, the fireside chats. First and 10, the Indians on the move. Sims is in trouble, and Mills rather, is in trouble and dumped back at the 41-yard line. Nice job by the Wildcats pursuing. That's Dezekius Chapman, the defensive lineman out of Lake, making the tackle for Pearl River. It's a loss of about 4 on the play. Brings up second down and 14.
Second sack registered by the Wildcat defense.
3 down linemen here for PRC as Mills wants to throw. It is a screen pass.
In the end, that's only a 25-yard net.
So 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Interesting how it looked like the first few minutes of this game, it looks like it was going to be an old San Diego Chargers game from the 80s, you know.
Yeah, and then the defenses showed up. They just came about 15 minutes late on the bus.
1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Pearl River came up to Tupelo late last night, then slept in a little bit today. Get ready for this one. Pitch sweep right side. Up across the 30 to about the 35-yard line. Nice gain on the play there by Lance Stewart. Have you noticed how many freshman names we've been calling tonight for Pearl River? Stewart there, one of the 4 running backs.
Be interesting, Kelly. There's a couple of times now to Stewart where that pitch is actually almost forward. It would be interesting for the stat nerds out there to see if that's actually registered as a pass, but we're counting it as a run.
Pass across the middle. It is complete to Wilson. Kind of a pump fake. Froze the linebackers, albeit momentarily, and then Wilson made the grab up at about the 45-yard line. It's another chain mover for the Wildcat offense. 1st and 10 at their own 45-yard line.
That was definitely a pass, and Wilson actually his 4th reception already in the first half.
Wildcats working quickly. Quick pass out to the sideline, but that one got away from him. Trent Williams, the wide receiver, the freshman out of Petal. The Petal Panther out there for Pearl River, but that one was thrown too wide. 2nd down and 10, and the incompletion stops the clock with 9:15 left to go.
Wildcats again, boy, they have been playing around midfield or beyond almost the entirety of the first half, but again, only that first drive able to result in any points.
Our game starting at 6:30, some of the games in the MAC check starting at 7 tonight. Again, a pass downfield for Trent Williams. He was able to get one hand on it, but knocked away at the last minute. On coverage there was Jaquan Williams, the sophomore defensive back out of Kosciuszko. So the whippet back there, the Kosciuszko whippet makes the play, and it brings up a 3rd down and 10 for the River Cats, who lead this game 7-6. No points here in the second quarter. Everything scored early in the first.
There's a little bit of confusion on the defense, and actually, if you start counting real quick, Kelly, there's 12 men on the field, and so instead of letting the Wildcats basically get a free play, the coaching staff of the Indians quickly calling timeout.
So the Wildcats will head to the sideline to talk this one over. We'll get to the Anderson Design Center scoreboard in just a moment. And Jones at Coahoma tonight, among other games. And we said poor Southwest having to go all the way up to Northeast. The longest trip that you can make in the toughest league in America. And don't forget, you can keep up to date with all of the teams across the state by logging on to JUCOweekly.org. Scores, schedules, statistics, news, everything you need to know about the toughest league in America, all at one site. That's JUCOweekly.org. You can download the app and get in-game briefs and scores, live score updates on your JUCOweekly.org app. Seems like everybody's got an app now, don't they? Checking the Anderson Design scoreboard, Southwest trailing Northeast 3-0 there in the second quarter up in Boonville. And East is leading Hines 13-10 in the second quarter. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center in Hattiesburg. So 3rd down and 10 now. Twin receivers to each side of the field. Humphrey wants to throw. Flushed out of the pocket, runs forward. Will not get the first down. Was lucky just to get a couple. And that will dispatch the Pearl River punting unit now with 9 minutes even left to go here in the second quarter.
Kelly, on the first possession of the game for the Wildcats, actually Itawamba on their first possession had no 3rd and longs. The first possession, first 3rd down conversion was 3rd and more than 5. Pearl River converted it, got a touchdown. We've seen no conversions of 3rd and 5 or longer since.
Caden Hentz with that rugby-style rollout, and look at this kick, all the way back to the 5-yard line. What a kick by Hentz. And the Wildcats have got the coverage taken care of deep down into the corner.
Big mistake right there by Javis Wren, Kelly. You, as a punt returner, if it gets inside the 10, you're supposed to let it go. If it gets to the 5, no matter where you're at, you let it go into the end zone for the touchback. He fielded it with his back to the return men, the special teams for Pearl River at the 5 was only able to get it back just outside the 10, and we have seen some really great coverage from the special teams. By the way, Coach Ted Egger, not the defensive coordinator anymore, but he is the head of the special teams. He's probably smiling right about now.
Savara Snow made a great play there. We'll get to other scores on the Anderson Design scoreboard here from the Mac Jack. Other scores in just a moment. 1st and 10 for the Indians now with 8.5 left to go here in the second quarter. Pearl River protecting a 7-6 lead. Handoff right up the middle, darting back to the middle part of the field to the 15-yard line, and a pickup of about 4, it would appear. That's Jamarcus Quarles, the freshman running back out of Lafayette. That's his first handoff, his first yardage of the game, brings up a 2nd down and 6. Pearl River traveling to East Mississippi next week. It's been a while since they have played. East Mississippi at Scuba. Of course, East Mississippi played at Dobie Holden last year. 2nd down. Quick throw across the middle. It is out to the right side of the field. Caught, but then immediately dumped is Javis Wren out of Shannon High School.
Well, that was thrown in traffic too, Kelly. A nice job by Pearl River on the defense right there, and a nice job on the tackle, because after the completion, if Wren had any yards after the catch, that would have moved the chains, but instead, it's going to force them on a 3rd and short here to convert.
Sims and Moore on the defensive coverage for Pearl River. Dive right straight ahead, and I'm not sure that he got it.
Not by the line judges on either side, Kelly. That 3rd and short has now become a 4th and short.
And the punting unit has come on here for the Indians. Wow, what a play by the Wildcat defense.
That's a big stop. I just told you, we've seen 3rd and longs multiple times not be converted, but we haven't seen any 3rd and shorts get stopped, and that's one that really changes the momentum.
But in the battle of field position that Pearl River is winning, the Wildcats have got to convert. Get some points, leading by just a point here with 6:38 left to go. The kick is away. It will be fielded there by Levy up to the 50-yard line. So a half of a field for Pearl River to go here with 6:28 left to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, Kelly, I was going to say, you talked about it a second ago. They start in Itawamba territory. Something's got to create some points right here.
Other scores on the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. In the second quarter, Northwest leading East Central. That game is at Decatur. 13-3 Northwest over East Central. Holmes and Colin are tied at 7 in the second quarter. Colin will provide the opposition for Pearl River's first home game 2 weeks from tonight. Jones and Coahoma just underway at no score. Likewise, Gulf Coast and Delta. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center. Handoff and some left side running room, and plenty of running room there. A big yardage there for Tion Frost. Frost is more the big bruising type runner, where the other 3 in the backfield are more those darters and cutters back and forth. So a gain of 8 on the play brings up 2nd down and 2 for the Wildcats as they've got the football at the Itawamba 41-yard line.
First carry as a Wildcat for the Bruiser, and it goes for 8. Boy, there would be nothing better, Kelly, with less than 6 minutes to go here. Get the score, get into the half with the lead, and they get the football to start the third quarter.
Itawamba won the toss and elected to take the football to begin the game. Frost is to the right. Empty backfield now. All alone, wants to throw. Does. Has his receiver down at the 30-yard line. Pass is caught right there by Stetson Moore out of Philadelphia, Mississippi. Moore pushed out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. A big gain and a first down for Pearl River as they get inside. They're very close to the Red Burrito red zone down there at the 24-yard line.
17-yard pickup, first reception of the game for Moore. And quite frankly, Kelly, there should have been a flag thrown as Humphreys was hit well after he let the football go. That could have been 15 more for the Wildcats.
1st and 10 for Pearl River at the 24. The Indians from the far hash mark in front of the Pearl River bench. Another quick little swing pass out, but spinning TJ Wash around to have to make that grab, and a penalty marker comes down here.
That is way back in the backfield. And that might have been a makeup call. I'm telling you, But again, my eyes definitely were downfield to where the pass was, but it could have been called on the play before, was called here. That's a big difference. Instead of 2nd and 10, it's going to be another first down for Pearl River.
Roughing the passer against the Indians. So this will march them down, and they're definitely now inside the Red Burrito red zone. The Red Burrito bringing south of the border menu items north to you, practically in your own backyard in the Hardee's location in Poplarville. Red Burrito, proud to partner with Pearl River Wildcat football. So that'll march it all the way down to the 14. And a first down for the River Cats, who already lead at 7-6, looking for more here, deep in Itawamba territory. Frost to the left of Humphrey. Everybody else in tight on the line, a couple of receivers this way. They give it to Frost, who tries to bulldoze his way up the middle and is able to get down to about the 12 and advance it a couple. 2nd down and 8 upcoming after the pickup of 2. The opener in the toughest league in America tonight. Pearl River football is back for 2019. Enough banging on each other and hitting those foam pads and running around cones. Time to actually get after it where it means something. 2nd down and 8. Fresh set of legs in the backfield. Fumble on the play, and it looks like the Indians have recovered it.
Never got the handoff, Kelly, and that's big. That's a big turnover. I mean, we're here in a 1-point game, and the majority of this football game, Kelly, has basically been played from Pearl River's 40 all the way into Itawamba territory, yet it's just a 7-6 ball game. That's one that hopefully we won't look back on in the post-game show and say that drive right before the half, because I tell you what, Pearl River looked like at the very least they were going to go up by 4, possibly up by as many as 8 with inside of 4 minutes left to go as we're at the 4:14 mark. Now Itawamba with a chance to maybe flip the momentum as they get the turnover. The game's first.
But that handoff looked hinky from the get-go. It just Stewart just never got a handle on it. Wanting a quick strike, and the pass is incomplete out there to Barry Flowers. The first attempt to Flowers, the receiver out of South Panola High School, is incomplete, as Clark Mills, the sophomore quarterback, couldn't find him. 2nd down and 10 now after the incompletion, with 4:10 left to go here in the second quarter. Twin receivers, actually trips now to the far side for the Indians. On a 2nd down and 10, the Pearl River defense has been tough tonight, but the Indians are here because of a fumble recovery. Looking for a receiver down the sideline, incomplete. Again, good coverage by the Pearl River defense. Pass intended up at about the 45-yard line, again to Flowers, incomplete.
Boy, and Kelly, the Wildcats are just basically leaving their defensive backs on an island. They said it's their strength. They're allowing them to go one-on-one. They've come away twice now with victories on the defense, and if you can play one-on-one, you got a whole lot of other people bogging up the middle and stopping the run game.
3rd down and 10 upcoming. Pearl River trying to get the football back after turning it over. Pass across the middle, tipped and incomplete. Up at about the 46-yard line. The intended receiver was Quay Tucker.
I don't know how Mills even got it to Tucker. He was covered underneath and over the top, and somehow that was a great pass by Mills to get it on the hands of his number 1 receiver, but he wasn't able to reel it in. And stop me if you've heard this before, but Itawamba's punting deep in its own territory. We've seen the Pearl River return men basically camped out around the 40-yard line. Hopefully this time it'll be a score by the offense after it's all said and done.
Benjamin kicks it at about the 7-yard line. Not a great kick, but the fair catch signaled for at the 49-yard line of Pearl River, and that's where the Wildcats will start 1st and 10. It's been a short field almost all night long for the River Cats, and they just haven't been able to convert.
Yeah, they've started at their own 49 twice, and the last possession started at the Itawamba 49. I mean, that's just 3 of the possessions that we have seen. We've seen others start at the 42, the 39. I mean, Pearl River has had their opportunities. Now it's time with just 3:51 to go here in the first half. Again, I don't change what I said last time, except now there's a little less. boy, if you get this score and get that momentum going into the locker room and you get the ball right away, boy, it could really be a chance for the Wildcats to separate themselves from the Indians.
A lot of Wildcat fans have already checked in. Let us know where they're watching from. You can do the same at 601-310-7077. Penalty marker down, so it might all be for naught. No gain on the play anyway on a handoff up the middle, and the first carry of the night for DeMarcus Griffin, the aforementioned running back out of Richton, Mississippi, where he logged over 2,000 yards last year.
Kelly, while we await the call, you talked about Pearl River fans checking in on the phone. Look across the way. They've checked in the stadium, too. This is a great crowd for the distance traveled.
Yeah, early on it didn't look like there would be a lot of folks here for Pearl River, and you would expect that, the 4.5 to 5 hour ride from Pop Vegas, but man, a huge crowd, and there's not hardly a seat to be had on the Itawamba side here. It's an illegal shift on the Wildcats. We'll march them back.
And Kelly, by my count, actually, I've got Pearl River. That's their first penalty of the ball game. So well played first half so far.
So here we go. Well, it actually is going to be second down and 10. So
interesting. They declined the penalty.
Because there was no gain on the play.
Yeah, but still, that's interesting around midfield. We'll see if it pays off.
Definitely not in football protocol 101. Little pass caught by the big tight end Harrison Ashby up at the 50-yard line. Might have picked up a yard. So it'll be a 3rd down and 9 coming up. They're rooting from the Wildcats in Montana, from the 719 area code. And, of course, what else is there to do in Montana, I guess, this time of night?
Talk about a long drive if they came to the game.
Yeah, Coach Heaton and his wife Kathy are watching the ball game from the 719. So glad to have you along. You get the farthest distance so far tonight. Hormel, New York is a good ways away, Coach Egger's parents, but Montana takes the biscuit tonight. 3rd down and 10. Pass is tipped and intercepted on that sideline. Savante Oliver breaks loose, and he goes all the way for an Indian touchdown.
There was just a miscommunication right there, Kelly. I mean, Terrence Humphrey thought his receiver was going to either stop or do a little out route, and he just kept going right down the field. The defensive back saw the receiver continue to go down the field. He put on the brakes, stepped in front of it, and the second turnover turns into points. And a truly, Kelly, a game since the first possession that has been dominated by the Pearl River defense. It's the Itawamba defense that puts points on the board and gives the Indians the lead.
With 2:48 left to go here in the second quarter, even though they missed a kick earlier, they'll go for the extra point here. This time the kick is up, and it's good. Skylar Grissom splits the uprights. With 2:48 left to go in the second quarter, it's Itawamba 13, Pearl River 7. We'll be back with the Java Mo's kickoff in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Exactly what the Wildcats didn't need right there. The turnover and the touchdown. They've turned it over twice tonight and won for a pick 6. Gives the Indians a lead here on their home field with 2:48 left to go here in the second quarter. This kickoff brought to you by Java Mo's. Kickstart your day with a fresh coffee from Java Mo's, soon to be open in the College Square right across from the campus at Pearl River Community College. Leo Wiggins watching the ball game tonight, and they're watching from Bay St. Louis, end-over-end kick up at about the 15-yard line. Right straight ahead for the Wildcats brings Jones, Latrell Jones, up to about the 27. let's get you caught up here. Watching from Bay St. Louis, Jalen Wilson and Tion Frost and the rest of the Wildcats. That's from the 228 area code. And in Leaf, Mississippi tonight, Brother Mickey gives a shout out to Hayden and Noah, the two Greene County boys that we were talking about. Coach Egger's Aunt Nancy is watching the ball game tonight from Bradford, Pennsylvania. She says go Wildcats. So, man, a lot of you checking in. Wildcat Nation from all over the country. Glad to have you with us. 1st and 10. Twin receivers each side. The Wildcats working from behind. Quick pass and some yardage up along the sideline. Making the catch there is Jalen Wilson. But the Wildcats will have to start thinking now about the clock, which is 2:35 left to go.
Maybe a little bit of early downfield blocking by the Wildcats, but no flag means it was perfectly executed play by the Wildcats. It looked like a bit early there, but ends up being a nice 7-yard pickup.
2nd down and 3. Handoff over left tackle. Gets up to near first down yardage. Not much more than that. It'll be close to first down yardage. Stewart, the ball carrier for Pearl River, brings up a 3rd down and 1.
Wildcats need this first down to possibly get into field goal range here at the very least with 2 minutes to go. They do have 2 timeouts to work with. Had to burn one back in the first quarter.
So 3rd down and short. Clock moving with 1:55 left to go before the Hardy's halftime show. Indians jump. Wildcats might have a free play here. Throws it to the sideline. It is caught at the 40-yard line and working his way down to about the 35. Good catch there by Stetson Moore. His 2nd grab of the night. One of those bigger receivers that Coach Egger likes, but a penalty marker back, so hold your tickets.
It's going to be declined. It is offsides, and that's a great play by Terrence Humphrey. I don't know how many NFL fans we have out there, but it seems like Aaron Rodgers is the king of that. Once a game, he seems to get the defense offside, but get a free play, so why not take a shot down the field? That was a 26-yard reception, and the Wildcats are just outside of field goal range.
Leah Wiggins and Michaela Wiggins, that's Coach Wiggins' son and wife, are watching from Poplarville. They actually sent us a picture. Wildcats run the play, right straight up the middle for a gain of about 2 or 3. Haven Wilson is watching his big brother Jalen and Tion Frost. He's checking in from the 228 area code.
Wildcats not panicking. They still got 1:20 to go. That's plenty of time to get yourself into field goal range. What you'd like to do is get it around the 20, take a couple shots into the end zone, and at the very least, settle for the field goal attempt.
And remember, the Wildcats will get the football to begin the second half. Twin receivers to the far side. It's that little pitch. Looking for some running room inside the 30. Gets leveled at about the 32-yard line.
May see him use a timeout right here, though.
Lance Stewart has been doing a lot of the running here for Pearl River tonight. He got that grab. And 4 running backs that Ted Egger wants to employ.
They're going to hustle up. Still 40 seconds to go. Need to convert right here.
4 quarterbacks on the roster as well. It is 3rd and about 5. He wants to throw. Can't find anybody. Runs himself inside the 30 down to about the 28. They'll have to watch this spot here. I don't think he got it. I think he was short by about a yard. He did the second base slide.
Interesting decision here, Kelly. Talk with Coach Egger. You were there right with me before the game. He says he feels comfortable at the 25-yard line with Gaden Hentz. Really anything outside? I said, what about 20 seconds to go in the half? What do we got, 24? And he said, well, we might switch it up and I'll go with the kicker, with the kickoff specialist. And so we'll see. Does he go for the first down right here to try to get a little closer with 1 timeout left? Is this out at the outer edges of Gaden Hentz's range? Do you send him out there? So there's a lot of things to consider here in this timeout.
Branson Davis is the aforementioned longer kicker, handles some of the kickoff chores. Well, but it looks like they're going to run a play.
Yeah, it looks like the offense is staying on the field.
On a 4th down and 2. Of course, you could always have the option of a hard count here.
Yeah.
Try to get the Indians to jump off sides.
And they do have 1 more timeout, so you would take it to not take the 5-yard penalty. And now Itawamba may not have been prepared, or they wanted to see what Pearl River would come out and line up in, and they were going with a heavy backfield. It looked like 3 backs in the backfield along with Terrence Humphrey. So now we'll see, does Pearl River come out in the same look? Do they change up now after Itawamba? There's a big chess match going on right before us.
The Wildcats will keep to the road next week, where they will go to Scuba and play Last Chance U. East Mississippi, the number 1 ranked team in the country, will be up in Scuba next week. You can follow the Wildcats on social media. And let me tell you, with the crew they've got running things now down on the campus, all you have to do is be on social media. There is no excuse to not know what's going on in Pearl River Athletics with the beginning of the state's first volleyball program, which is now, that season is underway, both men's and women's soccer teams. Lots of things going on. From the 601, Melissa and Cassidy have called in. Their favorite Wildcat is Juan Nelson, number 3. Let's go Wildcats. I'm sure they'll be cheering for Laurel this weekend for the battle for the Little Brown Jug, right? Hattiesburg and Laurel this weekend.
Same setup for the Wildcats, so they did not change what they had decided to do. But Itawamba, look at that. They've brought in the beef up front as they pack it in tight.
So they think they're going to run it, or will they try to get him to jump? Nope. Rolls left, wants to throw. Goes toward the end zone. He's got Ashby. Touchdown, Wildcats.
Had someone short. It was actually Tion Frost going short, possibly for the first down. Terrence Humphrey said, wait a minute, I got Ashby going out there with a little bit of room. He put a perfect pass, too, right on the money, and the Wildcats make up for a big defensive play a moment ago against them. They burn Itawamba right there for the touchdown, an extra point away from the lead.
That's why so much has been thought of Harrison Ashby. So not only is he big and strong, he can run a route, but soft hands, and he corralled that one for the touchdown. Gaden Hentz's extra point kick is good. 16 seconds left to go in the second quarter. It's Pearl River 14, Itawamba 13. We'll be back with the Java Mo's kickoff in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during truck month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Well, you have to be excited about the approach that Pearl River took there. Not only you think, well, just get the first down and maybe get a field goal, but they went for broke and came up all gold bars.
Well, if you caught the first 2 possessions of the first half and the last 2 essential possessions of the first half, you've seen the entire game, because everything sandwiched in the middle was dominated by the defense. But the Wildcats, their first possession was a beauty, and their second possession, and oddly enough, Kelly, their 2 touchdown drives were on their 2 worst starting field positions, so maybe the long field is the key for PRCC.
Branson Davis with a knuckler that gets picked out of the air at about the 20-yard line, up to about the 35 with 10 seconds left to go in the half. And you would think that the Indians would be content here to maybe take a knee and end the half.
They do have 2 timeouts if it matters, but the bottom line is, you could take a chance. I mean, look, if you want to be aggressive, what do? Remember the East Mississippi game last year, Kelly? I know you might not want to because it didn't turn out real well, but about this same position, they made 1 play to get it to midfield. Then they tried a Hail Mary, and guess what? It paid off. So, I mean, you might try that. Just do something over the middle against the soft defense. Get it to where your quarterback can reach the end zone and take a shot.
The student body secondary here for Pearl River, a lot of guys back anticipating that long pass, but they're going to take a knee here. And that will end the first half. From the 601, Melissa has checked in saying, way to go Wildcats, with the clapping hands emoji. Well, Melissa, the Wildcats lead here at the home of the Indians, Eaton Field, after 2 quarters of play. It's Pearl River 14, Itawamba 13. It's opening night for the toughest league in America, the MACJC. After this 2-minute timeout, we'll be back with the Hardys halftime show. Pearl River leading Itawamba by 1 at half. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during truck month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Southern Miss to the top. Let's go Eagles!
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price. At Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun, we're all in for you.
Southern Miss to the top.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're
Well, the Itawamba All-American Marching Band is about ready to perform. Back here at Eaton Field on the campus of Itawamba Community College, the good guys lead the bad guys 14-13. The Wildcats over the Indians. We say that just playfully, of course. The Indians are good dudes. But the Wildcats leading it by 1. Halftime show brought to you tonight, as always, by our friends at Hardee's in Poplarville. Every day that students and faculty and staff go to Hardee's, all they have to do is present their ID, their school ID, to get a 10% discount each and every day. And don't forget, they bake bread fresh daily right there at the location in Poplarville. Hardee's, proud to partner with Pearl River Wildcat Football. And joining us here in the booth is the president of Pearl River Community College, Dr. Adam Breerwood. Dr. Breerwood, good to have you along. Are we still Pearl River Community College? I know there's a trend out there to maybe drop that name community.
We are Pearl River Community College, and proud to be so, my friend.
Hey, let me tell you, looking at this off season, and I'm not saying this to be patronizing, but it doesn't seem to me that there has been ever as busy a summer as there has been this year on campus at Pearl River, between building projects, but you name it. There's just been a ton of things going on. Where do you even start, Adam?
Well, our campus is growing. Where we've just been really blessed over the last several years. And, of course, you're seeing a lot of these projects now coming out of the ground that have been in the works for the last several years. So it's really an exciting time to be on our campus. We had a lot of people, a lot of camps, new facilities on the horizon. Enrollment looks good. So a lot of wonderful things happening right now at our college.
Let's talk about the dorm building project. Even when it's completed, there will still be students waiting for beds. So,
well, we have to be really smart with our money right now and our investments. And so, we have 710 students right now that are on our waiting list to reside in college housing. And so our new dorm project will have about 275 beds, and that will put a small dent. But, these are people that really want to join our Pearl River family. I started to look at the data and the numbers and where these people are coming from, and they're really spread throughout our entire district. So if we didn't provide them an opportunity to reside in college housing, potentially they would not become our students. So we just felt it was the time. We were able to put together some financial strategies to make it work. And so I think it's a great investment for our college long term.
All right, so then you had to look at, okay, where do you put these dorms? And, of course, there's plenty of land available there. So Why did you guys, the board and so on, choose the area that you chose? And tell people who might not be familiar where the new dorms are going up.
Well, the new dorms will be located directly behind the football stadium, which is our old practice football field. And, I've just always felt that Pearl River has so much to offer. There's a lot of things that are happening on the backside of our campus, if you will. So we wanted to put these dorms right in the heart of our campus. We want to use our football field for intramurals. We want to use it for student activities. And so it's not just a football field. It's kind of the heart and center of our campus. It helps us with our retention efforts. So we just felt that it was the best place to put it. We're going to have some balconies that overlook our baseball stadium. And it's just going to really create some beautiful views and really hopefully just make people, proud to be at Pearl River and enjoy their experience while they're there.
And part of the overall experience is not just academia, but of course athletics. And two big projects, the press box at Dub Herring Field has been redone, baseball field has been turfed, and now Dobie Holden has been turfed as well. How did all of that come about?
Well, we put a lot of pressure on our coaches. We had to make some decisions on what we wanted to do. We asked them to go out and fundraise. One thing we do a little bit different at Pearl River, all of our coaches have to raise at least 20% of their salary. And that money is not used for their salary specifically, but it's used to help support our program. So we know that we can't put, all of our athletic expenditures on the back of our students. We can't put it on the back of our community and our local, our districts and the state. So we just felt that, we needed to kind of put that back on our coaches and say, help us support your programs. And they've done so. And they have answered that call. And so a lot of the improvements, especially in our baseball facility, were raised by Coach Michael Avalon and his staff. They raised over $350,000 in the last year and a half, which is just remarkable. And so, every dime of that's going back to their facility like we told them it would be. And I think the proof's in the pudding. And now we're starting to see more people come to our campus. There's more camps. There's a lot of showcases with our baseball. So what it's doing is it's bringing people from our community to our campus, and then it's opened up to the eyes of what Pearl River Community College has to offer.
Dr. Adam Brewerwood is our guest here on the Hardee's Halftime Show, where the Wildcats lead the Itawamba Indians 14-13 at half here on the road at Itawamba. And while we were talking athletics, let's talk academics now. It's real sexy by all the national political candidates to talk about college debt and so on and so forth. Should it be forgiven? And people say, well, college shouldn't be that expensive. But really, when it comes to tuition and so on, a lot of the schools in the state, in the junior colleges and the MACJC, haven't raised the tuition, if at all, maybe the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, we know, at the heart of the community college, you need to remain affordable. You also want to be accessible. And so, we've made the decision over the last several years not to raise tuition. Student loan debt in this country right now is, almost $1.6 trillion. Now, you put your mind around that number. That's $600 or $700 million more than credit card debt. And I'm afraid it's going to be the next big bubble that's going to hurt our future generations. And so what we've noticed is that a lot of students, they can't find the work that they need when they get out after incurring all this debt. And so they can't buy homes. They can't start small businesses, and they end up hurting the community. So we know at Pearl River, if we can remain affordable and accessible, you can come in. You can certainly get a 2-year degree for half the cost, transfer that degree to a university, or you can come in 2 years and have an outstanding opportunity in a career tech field. And we've got industry partners lined up now. So whatever you choose to do, we have a path for you at Pearl River.
And really, part of your job, along with the other presidents, is to keep the legislature informed as to what's going on, because they're your primary source of funding. How would you describe the relationship now in this money-tight environment, money tighter than ever environment that exists between the legislature and administrators across the state?
Well, I think, what our institution has to offer is certainly opening the eyes of a lot of the state legislators. I feel like we're going to have a really good session this year. It just makes financial sense. If we're going to bring this state forward, if we're going to bring our local communities forward, we need to build the tax base. And what a better way to do it than educating people in the community, hopefully attracting industry, certainly providing more opportunities. And so I really feel like we're starting to get the respect that we deserve. And I think that if we are going to bring this state forward, we need to do it on the backs of the community college system.
The first couple of weeks of school are in the books at all the campuses in Hattiesburg, Poplarville, and the Gulf Coast. Any official number yet as to enrollment and compared to last year?
You know, we have a 10th day enrollment mark, and so that day is tomorrow for us. And you know, so we don't have the official number. Of course, the number won't become actually official till 6 weeks, but we do have a mark that everybody turns in to the state office on the 10th day. And you know, without saying too much, I'll say that if we stay where we are for another 24 hours, I think some people are going to be very impressed and very proud to call Pearl River Community College home. You know, a lot of people around the state, their numbers are dropping, and for over the last couple of years, Pearl River Community College has continued to rise. And fingers crossed, I'm expecting the same thing tomorrow.
Well, good results here so far tonight on the football field. Well, the Wildcats lead Itawamba 14-13. Of course, Ted Eggers always talked about, man, get the first one. You got to get the first one, particularly when you look at the brutality of the schedule the next couple of weeks, where you go to Last Chance U next week and then on to the home opener against Colin. And, oh, by the way, Colin just got 5 or 6 players from Mississippi State, who I hear tell is pretty good. So this is one the Wildcats have got to get. So far, so good.
Well, I heard you when I was walking into the booth, I heard you say about being the toughest league in America, and it certainly is that. And so every year is going to be, you know, we're going to face the highest level of competition and, you know, a lot of Division I transfers. But I tell you, Coach Egger and his program and what they've done, and, you know, on the field, off the field, really off the field, it's that they've just been remarkable to work with. You know, we had all the student athletes were in for the month of July. And this may sound like something insignificant, but, you know, nobody quit. Not one person walked away from our football program. And a lot of times students come in and they don't like the environment and they leave. But he's really done a good job of building family. He's got the support of our faculty and our staff. So I think that regardless of what that scoreboard says at the end of the night, I know we're on the right track at Pearl River.
Yeah, he said I not only like this team as a football team, but he said I like this team when I break them down into individual people. Not just players, but people. That obviously meant a lot to him.
You know, they really are great young men, and I can tell you, you know, your football team kind of dictates the tempo of your campus in a lot of ways. And whether they want the responsibility or not, a lot of times they're looked at as your campus leaders, and the people watching them in the cafeteria. And I've been really proud of the way they've represented our institution.
Well, Dr. Adam Breerwood, continued success, and just think about another 30 years you could retire.
Hopefully in 30 years I'll be in the islands somewhere, Kelly. But I tell you, thanks for the job y'all do. It's always remarkable, and you guys are great partners with us. We appreciate the relationship.
Man, it's great to be part of this family, and we hope to win, lose, or draw. We're there with the Wildcats, roll, river, roll, rope, river, rope, whatever team we're talking about, whether it's rodeo or first time ever that a volleyball team has taken the court. So Pearl River leading the way in that effort.
I tell you, what an amazing opening day that was. You know, I'm not that familiar with the sport of volleyball. I haven't watched a lot of games, but we had a packed house in Shivers, and they've really brought some excitement to our campus.
And I want to just personally congratulate you on the success of Blaze, your son, who, of course, it all started with his success as an Oak Grove mojo.
There's no doubt. The legend, Kelly Sanders, is coach.
He will admit that. But the Hornets look like they're loaded for bear again this year.
Well, I tell you, they've got a good team and a great staff, and you know, I'm really proud of Blaze and what he's done. And certainly not he's a good athlete. He tries to play quarterback. He's really a middle infielder, and so you know that, and I know that. But I'm just so proud of the young man he's become.
Yeah, going to the Southland next year, and of course I'm a big fan of the Southland. My son went to Northwestern State, so I know all about it, and we wish him nothing but the best. But again, Adam, thanks so much. Good luck to you. Looking forward to a very, very successful and fruitful academic year 1920.
Great to talk to you, my friend.
All right, thank you. Dr. Adam Breerwood, the president of Pearl River Community College. The Wildcats lead the Indians 14-13 here at the Hardee's halftime show. When we come back, Captain D. David Sutton will be back with another installment of the Captain's Log. After this 2-minute timeout, this is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
Welcome back to Eaton Field, where the Pearl River Wildcats have a 14-13 lead at the half. Going over some halftime stats just in the scoring column if you're just joining us. Right out of the gate, Itawamba won the toss and elected to receive, and they cashed in quickly. A 1 minute and 57-second drive that ended in a 38-yard touchdown pass. It was 6-0 though. The Wildcats, the 1 point lead came right out of the gate as the extra point was off the mark. Pearl River, though, came back with a vengeance with their own first possession of the season, a 14-play, 6 minute and 27-second thing of beauty, quite frankly, ending in a 1 yard touchdown plunge by quarterback Terrence Humphrey. The PAT for Pearl River was good, and after 1 quarter of play, the Wildcats led it by a score of 7-6. Quite frankly, from that opening drive to the end of the first half, Pearl River kind of dominated the game, but they couldn't get that domination on the field to result in any points. One of the biggest examples of that, Pearl River, by the way, started 2 drives at their own 49, 1 drive at Itawamba's 49-yard line, and in fact started every drive except for 2 outside of their own 30. But every drive they started outside of their own 30-yard line resulted in a grand total of no points. None more glaring than when they drove it down into the Red Burrito red zone, but a fumble, the first turnover of the game and the season for Pearl River, ended that drive, and so Itawamba was able to stay within striking distance. The Wildcats were hoping to get some late first half points. The clock had gotten inside of 5 minutes. Pearl River was on the move, but a third down pass was intercepted by Itawamba, and a 70-yard interception return despite the dominance of Pearl River's defense after the opening drive. It was the defense of Itawamba that put some points on the board. It was 13-7 with just 2:40 left to go in the first half. And quite frankly, after what you had seen out of the Pearl River offense from the first drive, you thought that that's where we would end the first half. But Pearl River came away with points, and in dramatic fashion. On a 4th and 2 from the 28-yard line, they decided to not go for the field goal, but to go for the touchdown, and it paid off with a 29-yard touchdown pass from Terrence Humphrey. It was a beautifully thrown ball to Harrison Ashby. Ashby reeled it in just outside the end zone and took it in for the score. The PAT was good, 14-13, Pearl River at the half. Total offense for Pearl River, 193 yards, by the way, of total offense, and a nice run-pass mix, 71 yards on the ground, 122 through the air. While Itawamba, they did have 141 yards of offense, folks, 33 on the ground. That's it, 108 through the air. But remember, 75 of that 141, so well over half, came on the first drive of the game. After that first drive, the Pearl River defense basically played shutdown defense, only 66 yards in the final 28 minutes of the first half given up to the Indian offense. Terrence Humphrey, the quarterback, getting his first start in a Wildcat uniform, went 12 of 20 for 126 yards and a touchdown. Did throw an interception, though, that did lead to points for Itawamba on the big return. Leading rusher for Pearl River was Lance Stewart in his first game in a Wildcat uniform, as he had 9 for 39. Don't forget that Terrence Humphrey also created a score on the ground with the 1 yard touchdown run on the first possession. In the air, it's Jalen Wilson, 5 receptions for 37 yards. He leads the Wildcats in both receptions and yardage, but don't forget Harrison Ashby, 2 catches for 29 in that big score right before the half. Clark Mills for Itawamba, 9 of 7 for 108, but he actually completed 5 of his first 6. So do the math on that. Only 4 of his last 11, says the Wildcat defense has really shut him down. Hiram Watlington, the returning running back for Itawamba, led the way on the ground, 7 carries for 33 yards. And in the end, Quay Tucker, boy, he got off to a fast start. 4 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown, but that last catch that he made was in the first quarter. He was shut out in the second quarter, as obviously the Wildcats made adjustments. 14-13 the score. The Wildcats about to take the football.
Our halftime show brought to you by our friends at Hardee's in Poplarville. Don't forget that 10% discount daily. All you need is your student faculty ID. They make the bread fresh daily, and don't forget Hardee's, America's best-tasting hamburger there in Poplarville, proud to partner with the Pearl River Wildcats. Pearl River will get the football to begin the second half of play, and of course last year's second half was a disaster for the Wildcats. They'll be thinking about that, I'm sure, somewhere deep in the recesses of their minds here as things begin here in the third quarter from Eaton Field in Itawamba. A lot of you have already checked in. Glad to have you with us, and if you haven't, you can do so at 601-310-7077. We'll get to other scores from around the MACJC shortly, but getting ready for the kickoff here the second half in Fulton. Kick is in the air, will be fielded at about the 6-yard line. The Wildcats set up the wedge, trying to run straight forward. Something out of nothing, got all the way up to about the 25-yard line, and a penalty marker comes flying in late.
Boy, Kelly, that looked like a disaster. It looked like when he decided to go against the grain and to the other side of the field, that not only was he not going to pick up the 1 or 2 that he could have gotten on the left side of the offense, he was going to lose 3 or 4, and when you're at the 7, that's no good. But he broke out of not 1 but 2 tackles and made a big play out of it, and in the end, it's going to be not only a big pickup of 17 yards from Stewart, but they're going to tack on 15 more with the face mask.
So a tackling penalty against Itawamba up to about the 39-yard line now. So that the shadows of their own end zone didn't last very long. Very quickly from the 228, they're watching in past Christian and Gulfport for Dalen Anderson and the Wildcats. Glad to have you along in the 228. From the 814 in Erie, Pennsylvania. Wishing Coach Egger and the whole Pearl River Wildcats a great season. Glad to have you along, Erie, Pennsylvania. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Again to the near side as nothing developed up the middle. And again, Lance Stewart with the carry.
Well, that's a big start for Lance. That's 2 carries for 24 yards right out of the gate. And you're right, Kelly. I mean, if you're Itawamba, what more could you ask for? Get the penalty. You got the team pinned back at their own 7-yard line. A chance for them to get good field position. Finally, 2 plays later, Pearl River's right back to where they've basically been used to, right around midfield.
Now Stewart will get a breather. Tion Frost checks in, and they give it to Frost. He tries the right side and coughs up the ball. This ball's on the ground.
Already, Kelly, Pearl River, although in the lead, losing the turnover battle, -2, but it looks like they got away with one right there as the pinballing of the football ends up in the hands of one of the Wildcats, and they retain the possession.
Boy, that ball sprung forward and actually looked like it bounced off of some of the defensive linemen of the Indians. From the 228, Jaden Ridgway's Aunt Dana is watching from Moss Point. Roll, River, roll. Looks like one of the Wildcats is down on the ground.
And at this time of year, you hope for this, Kelly, but we see a lot of cramping in those first game or two here, especially in South Mississippi. It's 80 to 90 degrees minimum with the humidity, and in those first couple of games of the season, are you all the way in game shape? So we're going to hope for a cramp right here, and they can hopefully work that out.
While we get a chance, let's go to the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. Colin leading Holmes 14-7. That's a halftime score. They've also gone to half in at East Mississippi. Keelan Thomas is up under his own power and now jogging off the field, so that's good to see. East Central trailing at home in Decatur against Northwest. 20-6 is that final. East Mississippi 13, Hines 10. That's a halftime score. Northeast leading Southwest 10-0. That also is at the break. In the second quarter, Jones leads Coahoma 7-6. And in the second quarter, it's Gulf Coast 21, Delta 3. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at the Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 in Hattiesburg. Third down, pass to the sidelines. They were looking for Stetson Moore, who did a cut in, but the pass was thrown on an out route, so it brings up a 4th down and about 5, and the punting unit will be deployed here for the Wildcats with 13-17 left to go in the third quarter.
At the very least, Kelly, those 2 big plays plus the penalty will flip field position. Instead of punting from the shadows of your own goalpost, you might put Itawamba in the shadows of their own, as the special teams have truly shined so far for the Wildcats.
Gaden Hentz to kick it away. That former Hattiesburg Tiger, coached by Tony Vance, gets this one away. It'll be snagged at about the 20-yard line, dodging a couple of Wildcats, and then dancing out of bounds there is the return man, Savante Oliver. He's got a pick 6 on the night and gets out at about the 30-yard line, where the Indians will set up shop, 1st and 10.
And again, if my numbers are right, this is the best field position that Itawamba has actually started with. They have really been pinned back deep in their own territory. If it weren't for that pick 6 that Silvante came up with, I tell you what, Pearl River, you would literally be thinking that Pearl River is firmly in control of this football game.
That Pearl River Kick, sponsored by Java Mo's, kickstart your day with a fresh cup of coffee from Java Mo's, soon to be open in the College Square Center, right across from the Pearl River campus on Highway 11. 1st and 10 for the Indians. Twin receivers to the far side of the field for Mills at quarterback. He's gone the whole way, but confused about something, and they'll burn one here. And we'll take a timeout with them. With 13:07 left to go in the third, it's the Wildcats 14, the Indians 13. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Kelly Sander with Captain D. David Sutton as we begin our 6th season together here in the Wildcat broadcast booth. So many of you have checked in with kind words all across the country, from the state of New York to the Big Sky state of Montana. Glad to have you with us here tonight on our Wildcat web feed, and thank you for the kind words. It's a pleasure for us to bring you these games. 1st and 10, wants to throw. Flush from the pocket, actually hit by one of his own men, and then wrapped up and dropped by a host of Wildcats. Leading the onslaught there was Redante Womack, the sophomore defensive tackle out of Prentice, Mississippi. It's the 3rd sack of the night for the Wildcats, and a loss on the play, albeit minimal, of about a yard.
Yeah, if you ever want to give Mills some credit right there, somehow he just kind of had his back to the line of scrimmage, actually, and just kind of backed his way almost all the way back to the line of scrimmage, but it's still a good job by the penetration of the defensive line of Pearl River, forcing the 2nd and 11.
Clark Mills, the quarterback out of Pontotoc, rolls to his right, little dump pass, caught up at the 35, and then a great hit at about the 40 on Snow, but knocked out of bounds. Making the catch there for the Indians is Quay Tucker at about the 41-yard line, and that'll be close to first down yardage.
Well, they say the 41 over the loudspeaker, but now they've spotted the line judge on the near side has it at the 39, Kelly, so it's 3rd down. That is not first down yardage.
And the last time the Indians had to run a short yardage play like this, the Wildcats stuffed it. Got enough this time. Across the 40 to the 45-yard line, Hiram Wadlington, the sophomore out of Oxford, where I hear they have a school up there. A Division I school, I hear tell, in Oxford. That'll move the chains. And a first down for the Indians. 11:50 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Pearl River hanging on to that 1-point lead, 14-13.
I've got a son there now, and trust me, the tuition there is really reasonable.
Yeah, yours when your kid scores a 35 on the ACT, looking for a pass down at the 30-yard line. For Wadlington, overthrown. Actually, the Wildcats were pretty spread out defensively. That could have been a big gainer for the Indians, but it's an incompletion, brings up a 2nd down and 10, and stops at 11:33.
Couple of big play opportunities for Itawamba that they've missed. Remember, all the way back in the 1st quarter, a wide open after one of the defensive backs for Pearl River had fallen down. It was just a pitch and catch for nearly an 80-yard touchdown was dropped, and that could be a big difference in this game.
Wildcats have consistently gone with 3 down linemen. There's a pass across the middle that's caught through the middle of the field, working his way down to the 15-yard line. Again, the Indians have been most successful, Captain D, across the middle part of the field. And there's a big first down. One of the Wildcats shaking up slightly at the 15-yard line, but making the catch for the Indians is Barry Flowers, the redshirt freshman out of South Panola High School.
It's a 30-yard pickup into field goal range. Remember, just a one-point ball game. That would give them the lead, even if the Pearl River defense can stand up tall here.
Wadlington's got it. Gets ahead for a couple of yards. That play puts the Indians inside the Red Burrito red zone. Red Burrito bringing south of the menu border items right to your backyard in Poplarville inside the Hardee's restaurant. Proud to partner with Pearl River Community College Wildcat football. Red Burrito. 2nd down and 8. From the 601, Zach Wall getting some love from Macomb, Mississippi. The Caboose Restaurant. The entire Caboose Restaurant tuning in on the webcast tonight. Glad to have you with us. 2nd down. Indians go to work. Play action. Throw across the middle. Touchdown, Indians. No, incomplete. Incomplete. They ruled that he bobbled the ball and then threw it down. Big break for the Wildcats.
Boy, and I tell you, Quay Tucker, he is saying, I caught that football. Look, he is still pleading his case, but there is no replay, and so that's a big, hey, look, it's a big drop or a big call that went in the favor of Pearl River because Quay is adamantly saying that he caught that football.
Yeah, but then he quickly disposed of the football, so you can't be too quick. Wow, what a break for the Wildcats. 3rd down and 8. He was wide open either way. We'll see what transpires now after that huge mistake by the Indians receiver, Quay Tucker. Wadlington runs it up the middle, stopped at about the 11. Guess who? Mitchell on the tackle. Boy, Noah Mitchell showing out in his debut as a Pearl River Wildcat, no longer a Greene County Wildcat. Brings up a 4th down, and the field goal unit comes in for the Indians, led by Skylar Grissom, the sophomore out of Itawamba AHS High School.
Well, remember, Grissom has already missed an extra point in this one. That's the difference in this game, a chance for him to make you forget that right here.
Dylan Falk is the holder. Snap is back, the placement's down, the kick is up. It is no good.
He pulled it.
It is wide left. How about them apples? Should have been 6 for the Indians, and they come away with nothing.
Yeah, we talked about just a moment ago the coulda, woulda, shoulda, sure touchdown that was dropped in the first half, but that one, it looked like it was caught. Even the PA announcer here ended up saying evidently the ball was dropped. I guess a little sarcasm there. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't see the ball hit the ground at all, but the man that counted did, and Pearl River gifted, truly gifted the drop, and it ends up turning into no points with the missed field goal. Now, with the lead they shouldn't have, you would think, Pearl River with a chance now to extend and really take advantage of that miscue.
Let's see what the Wildcats do now on offense. It's that little pitch and the sweep ahead, up to about the 23-yard line. What yardage was there in the first half for Lance Stewart, Captain D? It just hasn't been there early on here in the third quarter.
Well, he did have the one big run to get him out of the shadow of their own goalpost, and right now we've got him at 12 carries for 65 yards, so not it's 5 yards per carry, but you're right. The running game that they want to rely on now, we'll see, is can the offensive line of Pearl River in this second half kind of take control here and start to wear out this youthful Itawamba defense. Looks like another Wildcat is down, and it looks like another, from where he is pulling at that calf, another cramp situation here in Itawamba.
In that one run, Stewart was able to muster 3 yards. Looks like Deshaun Bradwell, the sophomore offensive lineman from Sawdust, Florida, is being helped off the field. And coming into the game for the Wildcats is Eric Handy, the freshman out of Hattiesburg, who's also had a good fall. All the coaches are on campus, all the baseball coaches, the Wildcat baseball coaches on campus watching the game together. Looking forward to seeing those Wildcats play a little ball in the spring. Had a great season last year, and with some of the guys coming in there, it's going to be tough, all up and down that lineup for the Wildcats. 2nd down after the gain of 3. Handoff right side again to Stewart. Can't find anything right side, cuts it back. Now up the middle, nice shifty move. Gets up to about the 30-yard line. He'll be probably a half a yard short.
Boy, nifty was the correct explanation right there, Kelly. That could have been a no gain. That could have been a 3-yard gain. Instead, he comes up about a half a yard short of a first down.
Stewart out of Lafayette County, and now one of the Indians is down. So now the second half parade o' cramps begins here. New Orleans Saints playing their final NFL exhibition game tonight. The NFL season begins 1 week from tonight, believe it or not. And who will the Patriots play in the Super Bowl? That's the only question that remains to be answered, and we haven't even played a game yet. The Patriots in that always tough AFC East division with the lousy Bills, the stinking Jets. Who else is in that crummy division?
Are you a fan of another AFC team of some kind?
The Dolphins are no good either. Third down and very short for the Wildcats here.
Here's that same setup that they threw out of earlier, but this time they're going to run it, take the first down.
Right straight ahead. Breaking free is Stewart. Across the 50, down into Itawamba territory at the 45-yard line. Good, crisp blocking over the right side of the line for the Wildcats. Springs him free for a big gainer at the 49. They'll spot him as where the knee went down, but it's a chain mover for the Wildcats. Next time you want to move, talk to your friends at Gulfport Home Center, Mississippi's largest selection of pre-manufactured homes. Gulfport Home Center on the web on Highway 49 North in Gulfport.
I tell you what, Kelly, right there, they threw out of that formation last time and fooled them, and they had to respect it. Did Itawamba's defense? They might throw again, and that really opened things up for Stewart.
Handing it off. Now same play up the middle, but this time a different runner. First time for DeMarcus Griffin out of Richton, Mississippi. So Griffin showing why he is a 2,000-yard runner in high school, makes that play and picks up 9.
A really nice first carry as the Wildcats in Pearl River. Again, here's that offense. They've been moving it between the 20s, Kelly, but can they get some points on the board after that big break they just got with the missed field goal?
Plus chewing up some clock. Again, right ahead, but this time running into a roadblock is DeMarcus Griffin. Griffin might have fallen forward for another yard. The former Richton Rebel with the gain there. Softball, baseball, basketball, and the trainers are all watching together. So I hope that nobody gets hurt because
nobody's there to tape anyone up.
The trainers are not available, and one of the Indians is down on the field.
Again, we saw none of this early, Kelly, but as the game has progressed, more and more hitting the turf and needing somebody to stretch those legs out.
Shaquille Brown, the sophomore out of Tallahassee Lincoln High School.
You could just tell by the way they come off the field. You know, it's that same kind of half jog. Ouch, one of my calves isn't stretching out quite right.
So the Wildcats look to the sideline. Clock rolls now. 6:34. And something that has been indicative of Pearl River drives, not only have the drives that have netted in points come up with points, but has burned a lot of clock. Ball control is something that Ted Egger talked a lot about in the pregame show, wanting this offense to run a ball control offense that would indeed melt a lot of the clock. They lead it by 1, looking for more here, with 6:08 left to go in the third quarter. Give and go again, but nothing doing. 3 straight runs. DeMarcus Griffin.
A little bit of a mishandled handoff, which Griffin had to kind of just hesitate just that little bit, Kelly, to corral the football, which is the right thing to do, but it allowed the defense to close the hole. Now, 4th and 3, this is one of those situations where it wouldn't surprise me to see the Wildcats go to try to draw Itawamba offsides right here. Now, you can't go for it. You're on their side of the field, and your defense is playing well. But if you go for the 5 yards, you could get the first down. If it doesn't work, you punt it away.
Well, the Wildcats also passed in a situation like this. Got the touchdown to Ashby. Same play. Man is open. The pass is incomplete at the 35-yard line.
It was there, Kelly, just a little bit short on the throw.
Tion Frost did a little down and out, and it was just didn't quite have enough mustard on it. So the incompletion turns the ball over, but again, it was open.
You know, I like that, Kelly, what they did. Did you see what Humphrey did? He kind of did the hard clap, like, oh, I'm trying to get you off sides. And a lot of times on defense, you're like, oh, they're not going to go for this. Then that next clap, the ball was snapped. And so The Wildcats had a chance to convert right there, but Humphrey just short on the throw, and the catch could not be made.
So 1st and 10. Football is at the 42-yard line. No points here in the second half. 14-13 was our halftime score. On the give and go, Wadlington to the near side. He spins and gets forward for maybe a yard.
You know, Rico Moore was not in on that tackle, Kelly, but he was the one who got the tackle. He came flying in and kind of crashed the blocking wall that Wadlington had and allowed a couple of other players to get in there and keep it to a short gain.
Cole on the stop for Pearl River. Brings up a 2nd down. And about 9 with 4:44 left to go here in the third quarter. Pearl River with a 14-13 lead. Defensive battle. Mills wants to throw. Lofts it down the left sideline looking for a receiver there. Incomplete.
That defense was a thing of beauty, was it not, Kelly? Running stride for stride, and then when you say, oh, he didn't turn his head around. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Ronald Baker, I believe, was the man on the coverage, and when he turned his head around in perfect form, there was nothing the referee could do but just kind of wave it off on a perfectly defended play.
Because the defender also has
a right to the ball.
He does, an equal chance at the ball, but he has to turn like he's looking for the ball. That's the difference between pass interference and a legal play. Little's pass out to the right side, looking for some blockers and getting ahead first down territory, breaking free, and nearly went for a touchdown down to about the 32-yard line. You have to give credit where credit is due. A great second effort by Quay Tucker. He has been their go-to guy tonight. And he gets it all the way down to the 34-yard line of Pearl River.
Quay Tucker is their playmaker for sure, and that one, what a play. He could have been tackled at the line of scrimmage for no first down. Not only did he get the first down, he's got Itawamba in business again in Pearl River territory.
It is a first down. Here comes the blitz. Mills under pressure. Comes to the right side now, dumps at the last minute, cutting back to the middle part of the field. That's an Indian touchdown.
Well, Damian Ely gets credit for the touchdown, Kelly, but that was all quarterback Clark Mills right there. He bought himself some time. He had somebody pulling at him from behind. He was able to break away from that. But you know what? How many times do you see a quarterback kind of turn himself into a running back too quick? Mills' eyes stayed down the field. Ely ended up being dropped in coverage, and he ends up getting the 34-yard touchdown.
First points of the second half, and now the Indians will try to recoup the 2 points that they were short on the missed extra points. So it's 19-14 right now, and the Indians are going to burn another timeout. They're second of the half. They've already gotten rid of now to discuss this to try to make it a 21-14 game. The Wildcats went with a blitz that time, and one of the dangers of a blitz is you can sometimes overrun the coverage, and as soon as the Wildcats came up the middle, Mills just went out to the right side and left a man open across the middle, and Ely then did the footwork from there.
I believe what happened with Ely was he was covered initially, but when Mills started to run to the side, whoever was guarding Ely kind of came up to give run support. And with Mills with his eyes continually down the field, he caught the Pearl River defender who had left Ely alone, and he threw it right over his head for the touchdown.
So they'll go for 2, as we mentioned. Mills is out there. They've got their heavy package in there with Paris Adams, the freshman tight end out of Water Valley. And now shifting a stack of 4 receivers out to the left. Mills throws it quickly, caught, and in for the 2-point conversion. Boy, you got to pick your poison over there. Hiram Wadlington was the man that made the catch, but there were 3 other receivers over there. So that makes it a 21-14 game now with 3:48 left to go here in the third quarter. We'll be back with a kickoff in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football. Quick onside kick by the Indians. And the Wildcats recovered it, but man, there was a price to pay because Trent Williams got smoked. He was very alert. The Indians broke that huddle very quickly and approached the ball. Williams was really the only guy there to get it.
He was very alert potentially. Kelly, how? Seriously, how did he hang on to that? You're right. He was literally the only Wildcat on the field who had even a chance at that onside kick. That's one of those things that literally we may look back on that play if the Wildcats pull this out, especially if they score right here, as the difference maker. If Itawamba gets that right back and puts another score on the board, they could really have the momentum on their side.
And, I've never coached a game of football, I admit that, but strategically I'm not sure that I understand that. An onside kick when you only lead by a touchdown. You're giving a team now a 45-yard field. And it almost worked, but it didn't. Play action, plenty of time to throw. Across the middle, man open, caught down at the 4-yard line.
That's the one, Kelly. Now they're going to give it to him.
Touchdown.
At the last moment. Touchdown, Latrell Jones. And just like that, Kelly, I would say that recovery by Trent Williams made a difference. Because, the only person on the field that could have given the Wildcats the football did it, and one play later, PRCC is an extra point away from tying it right back up.
Latrell Jones out of Poplarville. Check that, Taylorsville, the Tartar. The kick is up and through the end zone, but one of the Indians was way across the line too early. Can you decline this?
Unfortunately, they blew it dead because although it was a kicker, Kelly, it's kind of that unabated to the quarterback rule. He was so far in that the referee, and rightly so, blew the whistle. So the Wildcats will have the ability to either take this on the kickoff or leave it where it's at and go for it here on the extra point, if I'm not mistaken.
They are going to take the point.
Well, that's interesting because the whistle blew. I don't believe that they should have been able to have the option right there to take the extra point, but in the end, they allow them to do it. So what they'll do is they are absolutely going to take it here on the kickoff.
But now going back to my point, and it turns out to what I said before, strategically, you were only up by a touchdown there, the Indians, and they gave the Wildcats essentially the ball at the 45-yard line. And one play later, the Wildcats tie it up.
You were dead on the money on that.
Well, it just happened. It just happened that way.
And I was about to say, but the only argument against that is that if we sat in the coach's room with Itawamba, they would literally be pointing to you and go, this is exactly what we wanted. We had 3 guys blowing up one guy, and 9 out of 10 might be low, Kelly. I'm telling you, that's 19 out of 20 times that ball comes free, and then they look like geniuses. But you're right. It ended up being a gamble that did not pay off, and the Wildcats take advantage in one play, and we are tied. It's a great football game to start things off.
It really is.
3:35 to go in the third quarter.
Branson Davis for the Java Moose kickoff. Branson Davis' grandmother has checked in tonight from the 251 area code. And Branson puts that one to the far side of the field, but they'll have to field it. Yes, right in the corner. The Wildcats' special teams tonight have been brilliant and remain so as they pin him up inside the 15-yard line.
That had hang time. That was in the corner. And as a receiver, as the return man, he was hoping that ball would kick out of bounds. It kicked to the left instead of the right. You couldn't ask for anything better than that. All you needed then was the coverage team to cover, and they did just that. A great kickoff right there.
Making Grandma proud there from the 251 area code. Want to thank all of our sponsors for making our webcasts possible. So 1st and 10 for the Indians now in this 21-all game. Line of scrimmage is the 14-yard line. 1st and 10, Mills out of the shotgun, wants to throw, does. Left sideline, has a receiver there incomplete. The Wildcat defenders tonight, particularly on the sidelines, have been brilliant. The yardage that the Indians have gotten through the air have been in the middle of the field.
That's very true, Kelly. On the one-on-one battles on the outside, the Wildcat defensive backs, which we talked about, they felt would be a strength. That's where they've won the battles. But you're right, between the hashes and on that scramble play earlier, screens in between the hashes is where Itawamba has found its success through the air.
2nd down and 10. Mills wants to throw. A little slant right inside the up to about the 20-yard line.
And there's a screen inside the hashes, and they get 7 or 8 yards. I mean, that's where they're successful. Outside the hashes, the Wildcats have nearly shut them out.
Mitchell on the tackle again for Pearl River. He's had quite a game. So 3 minutes even left to go here in the third quarter, tied at 21. Third down and a long 2 for the Indians. Wildcats have gone primarily with 3 down linemen. Now they stack that line, looking for the run, and up to about the 26-yard line, and enough for the first down is Wadlington.
They got what they thought they would get, but it was Wadlington. Give him credit. He broke a tackle. That easily could have been no gain. Wadlington, strong down low, able to fend off a Wildcat defender and able to stick his head down and get the first down.
Tackled by Terrence Monroe, the sophomore defensive tackle out of Petal, Mississippi. 1st and 10 for the Indians, working left to right. Sends Wadlington to the far side. Now whistles blow. According to our records, the Indians have burned 2 timeouts. And the Wildcats will take one here with 2:24 left to go. Don't forget you can follow all the action in the toughest league in America in the MACJC by downloading the app or logging on to JUCOweekly.org. Scores, schedules, statistics, and all the latest headlines from all of the campuses across the state. JUCOweekly.org.
Kelly, that timeout, Pearl River, think about what's happened in this third quarter. The first possession, 2 possessions ago, I should say, Itawamba should have scored but didn't. And then the last possession, they did score. And remember, Pearl River only had the football for 1 single play. Now, you love the fact that it was a touchdown, but the defense was right back out there again. Where Pearl River was dominating the time of possession in the first half, it's now Itawamba that's kind of got Pearl River's defense that needs a little bit of a break.
It is a 1st down and 10. The Indians will start this set at the 26-yard line from the near hash mark in front of the Itawamba bench, working north to south the way that Eaton Field is designed here in Fulton. Twin receivers to each side for Mills, the quarterback. Looks to the right, does the swing pass to his running back, Wadlington, and he is knocked out at about the 30-yard line is where he stepped out. So a pickup of about 3 or 4. So 2nd down, but the clock will continue to move as we near the 2-minute mark left to go here in the third. We're tied at 21. What a game this has been. The opener for each of these teams. And both of them in the next 2 weeks will have to play East Mississippi. So you know both of these teams especially want to get this one. 2nd down, the Wildcats are showing. Blitz, picked up. Mills throws, has a man. It's caught at the 50-yard line and then immediately thrown out of bounds. Making the catch there for the Indians is Quinshin Twilley, the freshman wide receiver out of Oxford. 1st down for the Indians at the midfield stripe. 49-yard line in Pearl River territory. Wildcats continue with 3 down linemen on 1st and 10. Mills wants to throw, can't find anybody here. Will roll to his left, now he will run it and take himself out of bounds at about the 40, actually only got about a yard at the 48-yard line. So 2nd down and 9.
I'll tell you what, Kelly, the Itawamba offense, not to say that it's not working, but they've almost gone away from the run completely. They are throwing it almost exclusively right now, and you would think that in the end, if they stay one-dimensional, that would favor Pearl River.
The head coach of the Indians, Sean Cannon, also serves as the team's defensive coordinator, much like Ted Egger did last year. On the delay, it's Wadlington, but carrying some Wildcats with him, stood up just short of the first down at about the 41-yard line. They've got to get to about the 39.5.
Kelly, I like that call right there from Itawamba. It's just what I just said. They had gone exclusively to the pass. So what Pearl River did, they had 3 down linemen and really only 4 men in the box. I only saw 1 linebacker that was even in kind of that imaginary box. So you know what Itawamba said? Oh, okay, if you want to only leave 4 men in the box, we'll try to run against that. They pick up 8.
12 seconds left on the play clock. A man checking into the game late here for the Indians. The Wildcats will stack the line here on 3rd and a yard. Hand off to the first man through. Got enough to get the first down. That's Tyler Day, the freshman running back out of North Little Rock High School.
It'll probably be the final play of the third quarter. And quite frankly, give the Indians a lot of credit. because their offense had basically been snuffed out from the first drive of the game in the first half, but they've really come out and made some adjustments and moved the football here in the third quarter.
And we've completed 3 here at Eaton Field in Fulton. It's the Indians 21, the Wildcats 21. A wild finish coming up in the fourth quarter in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
Southern Miss to the top. Let's go Eagles!
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price. At Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun, we're all in for you.
Southern Miss to the top.
Checking on the Anderson Design Center scoreboard, Gulf Coast leads Mississippi Delta 28-3. That's in the third quarter. Also in the third, Jones over Coahoma 7-6. Southwest has grabbed the lead against Northeast 13-10. That's a fourth quarter score from Boonville. Hines leading East Mississippi 17-16. That is a third quarter score up at Hines. Northwest over East Central 28-6. And Colin leading Holmes 20-14. That's in the fourth quarter. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 in Hattiesburg. So first down. It's enough for the first. Sims to throw. He was hit as he threw that ball. A one-handed diving grab at the 18-yard line. What a catch by Damian Ely.
Kelly, that was, where's the ESPN highlight sound? That's all you can say right there. I mean, how did Mills get that ball away? And it was perfectly placed. I mean, the only person that could catch it was Ely, and just like that, they're in the red zone with a chance to take the lead on a spectacular grab.
First and 10 for the Indians at the 18 of the River Cats, now in the fourth quarter. So time will soon be of the essence. Handoff up the middle down to about the 15-yard line. And, man, couple of real workhorses tonight for ICC have been Hiram Wadlington and Jamarcus Quarles. Quarles, the freshman out of Lafayette. Gain of about 3 brings up a second down and 7. Boy, the Wildcats, who have turned it over twice tonight, would look for a turnover here would be, as the man in Washington would say, huge. But the Wildcats have got to try to shake the ball loose or pick it off. Second down, going for the corner jump ball. Incomplete. The intended receiver there was Jalen Gale, the sophomore wide receiver out of Olive Branch. Incomplete, stops the clock with 13:59 left to go here in the game. We're tied at 21.
Kelly, just to give you an idea before this huge third down play, Itawamba in the second half, and of course we're talking about the third quarter, by the way, in the third quarter, 226 yards of offense in that quarter alone, 203 through the air, just 23 on the ground. They've only got 294 for the game.
Hiram Wadlington now, that workhorse, is split to the right of Mills. Remember that the Indians only have one timeout left. That'll be crucial down the stretch. Third down, here comes the blitz. Throw across the middle, incomplete. Incomplete, and he was under pressure. The Wildcats brought the blitz. And getting to him first thing was Luther Woolard, the freshman defensive back out of Petal. And now we've got one of the Indians down, maybe cramping up. That's Barry Flowers, the redshirt freshman receiver out of South Panola. So fourth down, and the field goal unit has been dispatched.
And that's been a roller coaster ride for them already. A missed extra point. If you're tuning in, you're saying, it's 21-21. No, it's 1 for 2 on extra points. They had to get a 2-point conversion to make up for that. And just a moment ago, a hooked 28-yard field goal had kept the game tied, kept Pearl River in the lead. So right now, the Skylar Grissom for Itawamba has not had a great night. Hopefully, for the Wildcats' sake, that will continue.
He's out of Itawamba AHS. And again, the cramping continues here. You can also tell it's cramps when they walk on their heels.
Yep.
On their way out.
That's about the 5th one in the second half, and all of them in the second half.
Well, that's why I don't exercise or run or do any of that stuff. I don't want to become dehydrated.
Yeah, you don't want to cramp up.
It's problematic, indeed.
When you're on the couch with a nice tall drink, I mean,
No
cramps.
People ask me what religion I am. I said a Seventh-day horizontalist. Skylar Grissom to attempt the 32-yard field goal. This kick is up, and it is no good.
Hooked it again.
Wow.
0 for 2 from 28 and 32 yards, and 1 for 2. If Pearl River wins, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's the difference in the game right there.
Well, it's the same effect as a turnover. We talked about how the Wildcats needed a turnover, and that actually serves the same purpose.
Yeah, what would be the difference? You
Right.
get a fumble and a recovery right there, no points on the board, field goal goes awry, and I tell you what, look, obviously this is the Pearl River broadcast and you're glad, but you kind of feel just as a football fan, boy, that's got to start to wear on that poor kicker. The first game of the season, he can't find it between the pipes.
So 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. See if they can convert now. Going the other direction, they'll have the traditional 80 yards to go from the 20-yard line on a 1st and 10 play. They pitch it, but not a whole lot of room, trying to string out the Indian defense, but DeMarcus Griffin can't find any running room there. No gain. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Clock working with 13:33 left to go in regulation. I use that term for the first time tonight.
I tell you, I like the way that play was drawn up, but Itawamba was just too good. I mean, you had the player coming across, and you fake it to him. You're hoping to get the defense to move a little bit, and that wasn't just a handoff. It was a pitch in the opposite direction, but Itawamba was there. A nice job defensively to stop that play.
2nd down. They put it out to Ashby, and Ashby was shadowed there for no gain on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 10. Got to credit the Itawamba defense there for picking him up. Defending him out there was Peyton Ray, the freshman defensive back out of Madison Central High School.
That's a big play right here, Kelly, because remember, the last drive for Pearl River was just a play. And this one, a 3 and out. The defense for Pearl River just needs to catch his breath a little bit because they've been out there almost the entirety of the second half.
Well, 3 receivers to the near side. Rolling out, throwing, has the receiver up at the 25-yard line, but it can only get up to about the 27. Wilson made the catch, but a trio of Indians were there to wrap him up, including Keyshawn Parker, the sophomore linebacker from Calhoun City. So it'll bring up a 4th down play, and the punting unit will check in for Pearl River. And back to retrieve it for the Indians is Sylvante Oliver. Oliver has a pick 6 for a touchdown tonight.
That's what Itawamba wanted right there, Kelly. They wanted to get it out of Humphrey's hands as soon as possible and then let their defenders come up and make a tackle, and that's exactly what they got.
Hence's kick is away. It's a wobbler that hits at the 38. Wildcats will watch it wiggle out of bounds right at the 30-yard line. Boy, Gaden Hentz has been a bright star tonight as well for Pearl River, making his debut as a freshman out of Hattiesburg High School.
But we've seen him boom kicks tonight. That one was one of those ugly but effective kicks because it wasn't his best, but with that 10-yard bounce, that's 43 yards and no return. Can't ask for much more than that on a punt.
And earlier tonight he had a rugby kick that he ran away from the pursuit, and he's made all of his kicks tonight, I think.
Yes, he has.
Yes, 21 all here.
3 for 3.
So the Wildcat defense comes out now to protect or defend as the Indians take over on offense. Clark Mills, the sophomore quarterback out of North Pontotoc, wants to throw. Pressure, the pass is caught, and away from a couple of defenders, working his way across the 50 all the way down to the Pearl River 45-yard line is Quinshun Tilley. So the Wildcats have been bringing pretty consistent pressure, but the way that the Indians have been answering that is Mills getting rid of the ball quickly.
Mills is knocking on 300-yard game, and he is really racking them up here in the second half.
1st down. Faked the run, now throws it across the middle. It was a high pass that was caught, but couldn't run after the catch. Just had to go to the ground. That's Quay Tucker with the reception. It's a pickup of 5. Bring up a 2nd down and 5.
We've got Quay Tucker at 120 yards, Kelly, with a touchdown on 7 receptions. He's having quite the opening night for the Indians.
Hiram Wadlington, who's got a lot of miles on those tires tonight. So he'll need to get some new tires and some Sunoco fuel to finish this game. Here he's to the right of Mills. Indians will have to protect that one timeout that they have. Wants to throw. The blitz is picked up. Looking for a ball, and this time we're going to get a defensive pass interference flag against Snow in the secondary.
Late flag. Don't know if I agree with it. There was some contact, but they do get the flag after some complaining, really, from the Indian bench.
Well, I think the reason that was called was Snow left his feet and really was over the back trying to get the ball, but he left his feet and got onto the back of the defender. And pass interference is called, and Snow didn't put up much of an argument.
I've got that as only the second penalty, though, accepted against Pearl River. So, again, they've played really well. And, look, going back to last year, there were triple-digit yard games against Pearl River and double-digit accepted multiple times last year. They have really cleaned that up here to start 2019.
Yeah, and just the first game. So the one game that you get a mulligan, if you will, is that first game until you clean things up a little bit and knock off the rust. 1st and 10 for the Indians. They have it now at the Pearl River 26. Roll out to the right. Pressure from the backside. Gets away from one man and now throws it away. And now they're going to get a roughing the passer call.
Wow, what a
against
difference,
Mills.
Kelly. If they hit him and get him on that first tackle, it's not just a sack, Kelly. He's back around the 37-yard line when that happened. That's a 12-yard loss. He not only is able to spin out of it, does Mills, but he throws it away to avoid the loss, and now they're going to tack on. Well, it won't be quite 15 more because it'll be half the distance, but that really was about a 27-yard turnaround between the sack and then the roughing the passer.
Once Mills got rid of the ball, you can't touch him after that, and the Wildcats with good pursuit and good inertia, shall we say, ran him over. So it's another penalty, 2 in a row against the Wildcats, who have been very clean up until this point. Back-to-back penalties. 1st and 10 now at the 14-yard line. Play action, wants to throw, incomplete. Somebody lost a shoe out there at about the 10-yard line.
The Wildcats ran right out of their shoe. Rico Moore will have to talk about new tires. He'll have to put the rubber back on right there, as Mills, really, that play was there for Wadlington, but Mills just threw it over the outstretched hands. A little too far for him to reel it in.
Wadlington will come out of the ball game now. The incompletion stops the clock with 10:26 left to go in regulation. The Indians have a 2nd down and 10 from the 14-yard line. Right straight ahead.
Wildcat, Kelly, didn't work at all against the Wildcats.
Quay Tucker took the direct snap, and he was wrapped up and dropped. A couple of Wildcats there making the play include Ezekias Chapman, also in on the stop for Pearl River's Cameron Johnson.
Question, is this 4-down territory?
Because of the field goal kicker's irregularity?
That's right. There's a question for you.
No. Well, it depends on what they do here on 3rd down. If it's 4th and 3, maybe. But trip receivers now on a big 3rd down and 12 for the Wildcat defense. Mills has the football, looks left, wants to throw, can't find anybody, now rolls, sets, throws across his body. This one floats out of the end zone.
And actually, had the catch been made, Kelly, it would have been still incomplete. If you noticed, the referee had taken his hat off and thrown it down, so the receiver had stepped out of bounds anyway. So here we go again. It looks like the field goal unit will come back on. Is the 3rd time a charm for Skylar Grissom?
Dylan Falk will hold it for Grissom, and you know that Grissom's thinking about it.
How can you not?
Of course.
And guess how far his last kick was?
32.
How far is this one, Kelly?
32. But this one is right in between the hash marks. Snap is back. It's perfect. The kick is up. It is good. Grissom puts it through. Gave up a little bit on leg to make sure he got the accuracy. Splits the uprights with 9:40 left to go in the game. It's Itawamba 24, Pearl River 21. Back with the Java Mo's kickoff in a moment. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during truck month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Kelly Sander with Captain D. David Sutton back at Eaton Field at Fulton tonight, updating the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. In the third quarter, Coahoma leads Jones 12-7. Southwest leading Northeast 13-10. Elsewhere, Hines leading East Mississippi 17-16. They have gone to the fourth quarter at Hines tonight.
I don't know. If we had the old Dan Patrick show poll question, what would be the bigger upset? Coahoma beating Jones or the number one team in the nation going down? Boy, that's two big scores that are not the way you think.
And they're not over yet. Short kick that will be fielded by the Wildcats at about the 23-yard line. Banging it right straight ahead on the return up to about the 34. Frost on the return for Pearl River.
I was going to say, Kelly, the bad news is that the Pearl River offense over the last approximately 14 game minutes has only been out there for 4 plays. Remember, they gave up the score. Then they got the onside kick that Itawamba tried to surprise them, and in one play they scored. There's one play, and they went 3 and out in their last possession. The good news is that you're only down 3. I mean, what more can you ask for on the road to get a Mac Jack victory, an opening night win? You just need to come up with one score here, one big stop, and you get back on the bus and you head back to Pearl River.
Frost wobbling a little bit. That's probably a cramp, as we've seen a lot of it here in the second half, and even the defensive players for Itawamba now kind of high-stepping to keep themselves limber and keep them from cramping. 9:34 left to go. The Wildcats down by 3, and they have the football. Pearl River led it at half, 14-13. So 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Wanting to throw, pump fakes it, now throws it down, looking for a receiver. He's got his man. That's Trent Williams, and they say it's incomplete.
Flag down in the middle of the field as well, but they said he did. Boy, it looked like he might have got a toe touchdown, but he wasn't able to reel it in. The Wildcats had an ineligible man downfield as well, so even had he been able to walk the tightrope, it would have came back.
So a penalty against Pearl River here. The Wildcats have fallen into a bushel basket of penalties here the last 5 or 10 minutes. Was that a hit to the head?
Ineligible downfield.
Okay.
An offensive lineman had released a little early, so only a 5-yard penalty. And interesting, earlier in the game we saw after a no gain, Itawamba decline the penalty, but this time they'll take the 5-yarder.
Hayden West, the freshman center out of Greene County, doing all the snapping tonight for Terrence Humphrey. And he's done a great job in his first game as a Wildcat. This is Wilson. Wilson with the football, streaking up the sideline. Gets pushed out near midfield, but they'll say the 47-yard line. But it's enough for a Pearl River first down, and they move the chains. Next time you're ready to move, talk to the professionals at Gulfport Home Center, Mississippi's largest selection of pre-manufactured homes, or you can check them out online. Gulfport Home Center on Highway 49 North in Gulfport.
I love that little Texas pitch play like that. First of all, the quarterback gets a completion, but secondly, if the ball's dropped, it's a forward pass, so it's not a fumble. 17 yards on the pickup, though. That's why I really love it.
8:58 to go. Handoff, they try the left side, but he has stood up. DeMarcus Griffin has just had no run tonight.
Yeah, first carry was for 8 yards, Kelly. His last 4 have gone backwards 1 yard. 5 carries for 7 right now.
So a loss on the play of about 1. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Ted Egger said his team wants to run the ball first, and they've got 4 guys that can tote it.
Lance Stewart, by the way, Kelly, just 8 yards short of a 100-yard night, so a very good debut for him.
But Griffin has done most of the running here in the second half. They fake it to Griffin this time, try to get the pass out to Jalen Wilson. It's incomplete. We'll bring up a 3rd down and 11 now, as we're starting to get down into the dangerous time as far as the clock is concerned, but it's just a 3-point game.
Another example, though, of somebody trying to run before they catch it. We've seen that 2 or 3 times, actually, tonight, and you know that'll be easy for the coaches to point out, look, you got to catch it before you run with it, or bad things can happen.
Well, see, now, lots of times I would think I don't want to catch it because I'm going to get smoked. That would be me. Looks like the Indians may have been offsides. No flag. Throws this down the sideline. Incomplete. Latrell Jones was open at about the 30-yard line. Now we have a penalty marker in the backfield.
That's a big drop, though, Kelly. I tell you, that was a 35-yard pickup, though. Wildcats are going to get bailed out, really bailed out right there, because it would have been a punting situation, but a roughing the passer penalty is going to really change things here, as that ball is not only going to be walked in for a first down, but it's now in Itawamba territory. The Wildcats knocking on the door of field goal range at the very least, but man, if that ball would have been reeled in, they would have been in the red burrito red zone. But, though, thank goodness for the flag.
All the way down to the 39-yard line of the Indians. New life after it looked like the Wildcat offense have flatlined. They've got a pulse now, trailing in this game 24-21 with 8:12 left to go in the fourth quarter here in Fulton tonight. 1st and 10, Ashby shifting to the left. Hands it off. Nice running room up the middle there for DeMarcus Griffin. First chance that he's had a way to navigate his way through traffic, and picks up about 9 on the play. Now actually 8 as they move it backward another yard. 2nd down and 2. The Wildcats on the move.
These second and shorts, though, Kelly, opens up the playbook. Will they dial up something right here and try to get a quick strike?
The Wildcats looking to win the opener on the road, a game that they had won last year in Poplarville, and the Indians pulled off the win in the waning moments of the game. Wanting to throw across the middle. Humphrey's pass is tipped and incomplete down at about the 18-yard line. The intended receiver there was Trent Williams. Williams, the freshman wide receiver out of Petal.
That collective deep breath is all of the Wildcat Nation breathing a sigh of relief. Anytime over the middle you see that ball go up in the air like that, you're just thinking, oh no defenders, and luckily for the Wildcats, it found its way onto the grass.
Itawamba has not turned the ball over tonight traditionally, other than
they
some
have not.
missed field goals, things like that, but the Wildcats have turned it over twice. Humphrey wants to throw, incomplete. At about the 34-yard line, he had to pull the trigger quickly to his tight end, Keelan Thomas. Keelan Thomas, the freshman out of Gulfport.
You got to feel like this is 4-down territory, just too far for a field goal, nowhere near long enough for a punt. Wildcats going to try to move the sticks on a big 4th down conversion play.
With 7:27 left to go in the game, Pearl River trailing by 3. What a play coming up here.
That same big stacked formation in the backfield. They've thrown out of this as well as run.
So the Indians will have to guess right here. On 4th down, Terrence Humphrey calls for the football, hands it off right side, first down. Down to the 22-yard line, a great run by DeMarcus Griffin, and that was simply execution, 1 at the line of scrimmage. The right side of the Pearl River offense opened up a gouged a hole for him to get down to the 23-yard line is where they'll spot it.
Kelly, you can look all the way back to the first time that on a 4th down, late in the first half when they got the score, they threw out of that formation, and Itawamba has not been able to be aggressive ever since. They've run it twice, both times successfully.
1st and 10 from the Indian 23. Humphrey has a couple of backs he could go to, hands it off to the tailback. That's Griffin, and he is knocked backwards. Nothing there at all. Jamal Schumpert, the sophomore linebacker out of Fulton and Itawamba AHS with the stop. No gain, 2nd down and 10. Clock moving with 6:42 left.
They are inside of long field goal range that Coach Eggert feels comfortable with right now.
On the second clap, penalty marker down. Pass is given to Frost. Frost inside the 10, spins down to about the 5-yard line.
This is a huge call coming up, but I think it's illegal motion against Pearl River.
It is indeed. Illegal motion, there's the call. And I think one of the running backs just took a little bit of a stutter step.
You can't have two people moving at the same time. And that's, whether they call it an illegal shift or an illegal motion, They really didn't have the old illegal shift back, I should say, in the old days, but it's the same thing. You've got two players moving at the same time.
What was the song back in the 60s? Backfield in motion, wasn't it? Well, you weren't alive. What would you know?
What are you talking about?
6:20 left to go. The Wildcats have a second and about 14. They don't have to get it all back here.
But that does move them back out of kind of comfortable field goal range. They do need to get some yards no matter what.
Humphrey with Griffin in the backfield. Humphrey wants to throw. Now rolls to his left. Across the middle. Pass is caught. Down at about the 15-yard line. Not enough for the first down, but close. Stetson Moore with either his third or fourth reception tonight, but he has been big every time they've gone to him tonight. He made that grab. They are now officially inside the Red Burrito red zone. Red Burrito bringing south of the border menu items to Poplarville inside of Hardee's. Red Burrito proud to partner with Pearl River Wildcat football. Third down and about 4. Wants to throw again. Trouble. Throw. Is it caught? Again by Stetson Moore. What a catch by Stetson Moore.
What a throw by Terrence Humphrey. He had a defender draped and bringing him to the ground. It would have been a great play, Kelly, if he just got rid of it, not to avoid the sack, I should say, because that would have taken him back out of field goal range. Instead, he throws a strike. It's complete, and the drive continues just inside the 10.
Actually, just outside the 10, David, it would appear. Well, the chains aren't set up, but from our vantage point, it looks like that ball is sitting right outside the 10-yard line. And now the Wildcats are going to burn a timeout, which will leave them with just one left. 4:48 left to go. We'll take a timeout with them. The Wildcats on the doorstep, but trail by 3. Back after this timeout, this is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
Southern Miss to the top. Let's go Eagles!
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price. At Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun. We're all in for you.
Southern Miss.
Out of the timeout now, the Wildcats have a 1st and 10. Actually, 1st and goal. They'll say that nose of the football is just over the 10-yard line. So 1st and goal for the Wildcats. They trail by 3. Last minutes of the game. Handoff up the middle, inside the 5, spinning toward the end zone. That's a Wildcat touchdown.
Griffin with a beautiful run, but again, Kelly, 3 times they have run out of that power formation. And Kelly, the offensive line of Pearl River has absolutely dominated on all 3 of those runs. A 10-yard run. Look, 1st and goal from the 10. That's not the easiest to convert in 3 downs. Pearl River only needed 1.
Gaden Hentz on to add the ever so important extra point. This would make it a 2-score game. The kick is up. The kick is good.
It would make it a game where they have to get a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Not a 2.
I wish it was a 2-score
Yeah,
game.
I meant 2 field goals.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to get it right. But you know what? Hentz has been perfect, and those 4 extra points, super important.
People are going, just how old is Sander? He's losing his mind. Yeah, it would. They are now
Wishful
forced.
thinking is not too bad.
They are forced now to score a touchdown. Let's update the Anderson scoreboard. Anderson Design Center scoreboard. The upset watch is on in the Mississippi Delta. Coahoma has extended its lead to 18-7 over Jones late in the 3rd quarter at Coahoma. How about that?
That'd be a shocker.
Hines leading East Mississippi 24-16 tonight. Well, the Mac Jack this year might be anybody's race. Who knows? All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center on Highway 98.
Kelly, in all
Hattiesburg.
seriousness, that extra point, making it a 4-point game, it allows you to play your defense differently here. So all you need, obviously, they've covered good all night. We need one more good cover right here, and then the defense can kind of play differently. Just keep them out of the end zone for the win.
Branson Davis, a thunderous boot that goes all the way back to the end zone and into the corner of the end zone, and they'll bring it out. Some room up this near sideline, but quickly closed up by the defense of Pearl River. Bringing it back was Quay Tucker, and he was wrapped up by Ross Barnett, the freshman linebacker out of Poplarville High School. Ross Barnett, quite a cowboy in high school, was a national roping and bull riding champion at Poplarville High School.
Tell me if you weren't with me on this, Kelly. It looked like a sure touchback. Then when he brought it out, you were like, yes, but Quay Thompson was one missed tackle away from taking that. You had to take a huge deep breath. So a lot of roller coaster emotions right there for the Wildcat faithful, but in the end, it's 1st and 10 from the 26.
Pearl River leads at 28-24. Mills wants to throw, has a man open and then overthrew him down at the 40-yard line. He had gotten past the defense. Damian Ely, the sophomore out of Nettleton High School, was there but overthrown. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Remember that each team has just one timeout left.
I know this might sound weird because Ely actually had a step, but that's actually a pretty good play for the Wild. They'll take that. I mean, that was a really tough throw. It had to be perfect, and you'll take your chances on that, and it's incomplete.
3 down linemen again for Pearl River. Mills, they call for the screen. Got away from a couple of Wildcat blockers. Nice running tonight by Hiram Wadlington. You have to give credit where credit is due. He should have probably lost a yard or two on that play, but was able to weave his way through traffic and dodge some tacklers and got about 8 on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 2 as we near the 4-minute mark left to go in the game. Pearl River leads by 4.
With that completion, Mills now over the 300-yard mark, 20 of 36 for 302.
Handoff to Wadlington again. Look out! Wadlington into the secondary, and he is brought down at the 40-yard line. Snow on the tackle for Pearl River. Also there for the River Cats is Kobe Cole out of Madison Central, and that is an Indian 1st down at the Pearl River 40-yard line. But as David talked about earlier, the field goal does the Indians no good, at least not without another possession.
Wadlington now with 86 yards rushing on 15 carries.
1st and 10. Mills wants to throw, has man-to-man coverage, incomplete, and they're going to get a penalty marker here. I'm not sure about that one now.
Yeah, I don't even know if that ball was catchable, Kelly. It was well out in front of the intended receiver. And another Wildcat is down again, hoping for that cramp. And that's basically all we've seen, thankfully, tonight. But again, that penalty is going to be a 15-yarder on the pass interference, or at least a spot foul. Maybe it's only 13 or 14. But, again, a big one, going to move it inside the 30 if it stands. They are going to call it. But I'm with you, Kelly. I didn't know if that was incidental contact, first of all. And second of all, I don't know if it was catchable. But in the end, the flag sticks. And now, just like that, Itawamba, in less than a game minute, is now in striking distance at the 27-yard line.
It's so hard to commit pass interference on that type of pattern, because the receiver cuts to the inside and the defensive back doesn't even get there in time, really,
well,
to
you can
interfere
see it
with them.
sometimes when they go through the back. You
Right.
see that, but right there that wasn't the case. It was really more the feet getting tangled up. But in the end, it's a 1st down, and the Wildcat defense has got to stand tall right here with 3:34 left.
Football's at the 27-yard line. Mills again wants to throw. Here comes the blitz. He gets hammered. Receiver wide open. Touchdown.
And give Mills a lot of credit, Kelly. He knew he was going to get absolutely flattened, and you know what he did? He took it. He stepped into the throw. He got crushed in the rib cage, and he put a perfect pass on the money for the 27-yard score. And speaking of all-important extra points, got a big one coming up here for Itawamba.
Skylar Grissom, who has missed more than he's made tonight in the place kick category, come on to try to extend the lead to 3. The kick is up. The kick is good. 3:26 left to go. It's Itawamba 31, Pearl River 28, back with the Java Mo's kickoff after this timeout. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Well, the Indians try that onside kick here again, but not this time. They had huddled up tight before and then quickly broke the huddle and just kind of kicked it forward. And the Wildcats, Trent Williams was able to snag it. The Wildcats now on the return, trying to get to the outside and at about the 30-yard line, and going out is Levy. So they'll spot it at the 28-yard line. But in a situation here, unlike the Indians, the Wildcats just need a field goal.
That would send it to overtime, and again, where Coach Eggert feels comfortable with Gaden Hentz is from the 25 and in. So basically a 42-yard field goal and in is the kind of the target line that the Wildcats are looking for. Anything outside of that, they would send off their kickoff specialists out to try one of those if it came down to that.
Terrence Humphrey has gone the distance at quarterback for Pearl River. He's played well tonight. Looks for a quick pass, has his receiver. Kind of that bubble screen out there to the right side, or wide receiver screen. Gain of about 2 on the play, not a whole lot there.
I believe that was Latrell Jones, and I'll tell you this, Kelly, he did a great job. Sometimes those receivers try to go for the home run and dance around and only gain a yard or 2. He just put his helmet down. He got 5, and that's a good gain on first down.
It looked like it was only about 2 or 3 the first time up. We've got our first final of the MACJAC season. Northwest has defeated East Central 26-13. Northwest a winner. Little pass to Ashby, the tight end. He's got blockers in front of him. He's able to barrel his way up to the 45-yard line before he's dumped, but that'll move the chains. Pearl River on the move with 2:36 left to go.
Ashby with the reception, his 4th of the night, that one for 12 yards, and like you said, a big first down, and the Wildcats are on the move.
2:23, clock moving. Again, each team protecting that one precious timeout that they still have. The Wildcats down by 3. Handoff right straight ahead. Griffin down to the 40-yard line. A gain of 15 on the play. That'll move the chains again.
Griffin has either been all or nothing, has he not? I mean, I don't know. He's either gotten 8 yards or more, or he's gotten 1 yard or less, but that one was in the good variety. He's up to just under 50 yards, 10 carries for 49.
They spotted at the 42-yard line. Inside 2 minutes now left to go. The Wildcats need at least a field goal to extend this game. But you know they'd love to hit pay dirt. Ashby now shifts to the left. Throw on the down and in. It's caught. It's caught. Making the catch there is Latrell Jones. Freshman out of Taylorsville uses that lanky 6'2 frame to make a catch down to the 30-yard line.
12, 13, 12. I mean, that's the last 3 plays for the Wildcats. Basically a dozen, and a baker's dozen, and they are about a 1 first down away from being in field goal range.
They could probably kick it from here. They wouldn't like to, for sure. 1:24, clock moving on 1st and 10. Handoff to Griffin, DeMarcus Griffin. They call him D.D. Griffin there. As he gets inside the 30 down to about the 28-yard line. A freshman out of Richton.
And Kelly, urgency now probably needs to be had by the offense. So we approach the 1 minute mark. Now the Wildcats may need to hustle up a little bit with only 1 timeout remaining.
2nd down and 8 for the record. They trail by 3. Quick pass, caught again by Wilson. Wilson tries to spin away. It only gets down to about the 23-yard line.
And now you're almost playing, Kelly, for overtime, because they've got 1 more play essentially, and they need to hustle up, and then they can use that final timeout, but they're choosing not to use it right here on 3rd and 2.
27 seconds, 26, down to 25. Third down. Wants to throw, does, has a man open, touchdown!
They were in field goal range, so what did they do, Kelly? They took their shot, and they hit Pater. What a play call, what a throw, and the touchdown for Pearl River. Jalen Wilson into the end zone, and the Wildcats are 16 seconds away from a thrilling victory.
What a catch by Jalen Wilson that was right on the money on the throw from Humphrey. Gaden Hentz on to add the extra point, which in 16 seconds, if he makes this, the Indians would have to score the touchdown. The kick is up, and the kick is good. We'll keep it right here. 16 seconds left to go. The Wildcats on a 3rd down and 2 with the clock running inside of 30 seconds left to go and a timeout in their back pocket. Take the shot at the end zone, and Jalen Wilson catches the pass from Terrence Humphrey, and the Wildcats have left this Itawamba faithful stunned and silent.
I tell you what, Kelly, there have been so many plays where I've loved the play calling by Pearl River. They did what they needed to do to get into field goal range. They secured inside the 25. So what they did was, hey, look, we're going to take a shot at the end zone. If we miss it, we're going to kick the field goal and leave you no time to do anything. Or we're going to hit this, and we're going back and winning this thing in regulation. And that's exactly what they did if they can just burn the last 16 seconds.
Man, we've got text messages blowing up from all over the country from Wildcat fans who just watched that play and are going nuts, hoping that 16 seconds from now the Wildcats will be 1-0 on the year and win this game in dramatic fashion. To kick it away, Branson Davis, who has put the Indians deep all night long. An up man takes it at the 35-yard line, down to about the 34, but they burn 6 seconds on the return. So that was the strategy on the low liner, is make them run it back
We
and burn
talked
some
about
clock.
this in the first half, but this is going to be the strategy now, Kelly. All you can really do from here is to try, if you're at Itawamba, get something around midfield, enough where your quarterback can take one heave to the end zone, because right now there's no way Chris Mills can get it to the end zone from here. So they're going to try to pick up 15 yards, preferably, and then take one shot at the end zone. We'll see if Pearl River can knock this down and almost put it away.
Don't know that it matters, but the Indians do have one timeout, should they need it. So 1st and 10, but that's moot at this point. Mills wants that 15 yards, does. Pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line, but that burned 4 seconds. So 6.9 seconds left to go.
If they wanted to, Kelly, they could do a little out for 3 or 4 more yards if they felt like they needed it. Because, again, although you're 54 yards away, you figure your quarterback actually has to throw it 60-plus. So we'll see if they feel confident enough as Pearl River. Why not? Go ahead and use your timeout. Get everybody on the same page right here and make sure that hopefully this is the final play.
Boy, what a feather in the cap for J.J. Johnson, the defensive coordinator for Pearl River. If his team can hang on here and protect this lead with 6.9 seconds left. It looked very good for the hometown team Indians just a moment ago, but the Wildcats never having said die, at least tonight. And remembering last year how the Indians stole one from them down at Poplarville, and the Wildcats have come through big here tonight, but there's still 6.9 seconds left to go.
This would definitely return the favor, but don't count out Clark Mills. He is 22 of 38, 341, 3 scores, no interceptions. In fact, again, if Pearl River wins this, you talk about against the odds, the number of wins you get when you're a -2 in the turnover column, which is what they are, usually is not a lot, but right now Pearl River poised to get that win.
6.9 seconds left to go. Mills takes the snap, does throw it across the middle, but it was incomplete, and it burned 2 seconds.
Boy, I don't know any plays that only take 2 seconds. A little bit of a slow push from the hometown clock operator.
Barry Flowers did the old second base slide to try to pull that one off the turf. But now they indeed only have time for one more play. Everybody and their uncle is in the defensive secondary for Pearl River. I think every defensive back the Wildcats have on the roster is back there. 3 men coming. Throws it up in the air. The clock sounds. The pass is caught. It is caught, but the tackle made at the 20. The Wildcats win.
And that tells you, Kelly, why they were trying to get that little short pass. Mills just didn't have the gun. That ball ended up 15 yards short of the end zone. Pearl River, this was such a well-played game, Kelly. I mean, the penalties were down for game one. The mistakes were down for game one. But in the end, Pearl River, the thing that killed them last year was the second half. They couldn't finish. Guess who finished tonight? The Wildcats come up big with the late touchdown in the win.
Final score, Pearl River 35, Itawamba 31. We'll be back with the Pawpaws Campers and Cars post-game show after this timeout. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
They'll be in a good mood next week.
Back at Eaton Field in Fulton, Mississippi, on the campus of Itawamba Community College, the Pearl River Wildcats, under Ted Egger, who gave up the reins of defensive coordinator, said, I'm going to be a head coach and I'm going to coach special teams. I'm going to let my OC and DC do most of the heavy lifting during game situations. They came through. A team that he said he not only likes as a team, but likes all the players as individuals. And they came together as a team tonight and have pulled it out 35-31 over Itawamba. Now, as we say that, a reminder that East Mississippi has just been defeated by Hines. Hines has defeated East Mississippi 24-16. That is where the Wildcats will travel to next week. They will go to Scuba to take on East Mississippi, and it will be the Wildcats that will be ahead in the standings over East Mississippi when they go in there next week. Other potential upset tonight, Coahoma is leading Jones in the fourth quarter, 18-7. Again, Coahoma over Jones, 18-7. That is in the fourth quarter. So, Captain D, what a start to the season. But the most important note, what a start for Pearl River.
Absolutely, Kelly. Again, this team played hard in the first half, was in games last year in the first half, but the second half not only didn't turn out the way they wanted to, some of them turned into disasters. And this was one of them. This was a game that, although you look back on the scoreboard, it was a 3-point game. That was a disastrous second half. The Wildcats had a huge lead, and it really kind of carried over into the next week, which carried over into the entire season. Can this be one? Last year's was kind of an anchor that pulled them down. Can this be a springboard into a great season? Because I'm telling you, Kelly, this was a full team effort. The defense had a great first half, but quite frankly, Kelly, in the second half, they were gouged a little bit. In the end, they gave up 465 yards of offense. They only given up 141 in the first half, but the offense and the special teams picked them up in the second half. Coach Egger said he loves this team, that he feels like this will give a team effort. This was a team win tonight.
And the receivers that he talked about, they spread the ball around tonight. A lot of different guys not only ran the football for Pearl River, but most importantly, caught the football. They used a ton of receivers tonight.
I've got 6 different receivers making catches. You had the big tight end Ashby with the touchdown with 4 receptions for 41. Latrell Jones, he only had 3 catches going into that last drive. He was huge on that last drive. He ends up with 5 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Of course, Jalen Wilson, he had a big first half. He was very quiet in the second half, but he saved his best for last as he made the 23-yard touchdown reception, 8 for 83. But you also had Stetson Moore, with 4 catches. Khalil Levy made a catch. Trent Williams made a catch. You're right. It was spread around big time. Terrence Humphreys ended up with 259 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Did have the 1 pick that was returned. But in the end, if you could erase that 1 interception, and I honestly believe that was actually might have been just as much of the receiver's fault as his, but the bottom line is that's a great line. 259 yards throwing, 3 touchdowns through the air. Remember, he also had a 1-yard touchdown run as well. You got your freshman quarterback who accounts for 4 touchdowns, and these are not garbage touchdowns. The last one was the biggest of them all. That was a big-time drive that he led for the win.
And other than Wash, you've got the running backs are all freshmen. The 4 quarterbacks at Pearl River are freshmen, and a lot of those receivers are freshmen. So there's a lot of reason for optimism, not only about this season now with this win on the road, but going forward in the fold for Pearl River.
You talked about a couple of those freshmen who had 2,000-yard seasons in their senior years in high school. Well, that's Lance Stewart and D.D. Griffin. They combined tonight, Kelly, 24 carries, a $141 and a touchdown. You'll take that out of 1 back or a combination of 2 backs any day of the week. Stewart kind of carried the load for 2.5 quarters, and they brought in a fresh D.D. Griffin for the stretch run, and he paid off. He ended up with 10 for 49 himself.
Pearl River 35, Itawamba 31. The Wildcats win the MacJack opener, the toughest league in America. Pearl River is 1-0. Next week, the Wildcats stay on the road. They go to Scuba to take on East Mississippi. In case you missed it, East Mississippi was upset tonight. They lost to Hines, so you know they'll be in a real good mood.
Real good mood.
Going back to Scuba, and that is a 7 o'clock start. A 7 o'clock start. Next Thursday night, we'll have it for you here at prccathletics.com. Thanks to all of our sponsors and to Pawpaw's Campers and Cars in particular for sponsoring our pregame and postgame shows. Again, the Wildcats win a wild one here in Fulton tonight, 35-31. That'll do it. Thank you for joining us on this opener in the MacJack. We'll see you next Thursday night from Scuba. For color analyst Captain D. David Sutton, our producer Mark Franklin, I'm Kelly Sander. Thanks for joining us. This is the home of Pearl River Wildcat football.